Do you like basketball? Basketball, no. I like, but I'm not good at. Yes, I'm not.
Me too.
With this noise in the background tonight, I'm gonna lose my mind. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the State of the League podcast, the only NBA podcast talking about. We waited one extra day, and it feels like there's so much shit that's happened since the last time we talked. I'm your host, Jack, aka Jokic Joe Star. With me, as always, is the world famous Pablo Escobar. We are joined today by the esteemed baseball expert, Matthew Sponhour. Matt Sponhour, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I guess it's my first time being an esteemed baseball expert, so that's good. And it's helping me forget about what went down just a couple of days ago with the lottery, I guess.
That feels like forever ago already. What day was that? That was Monday.
Yeah, it was Monday.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like so much shit has transpired over the last 4 days. We've had seasons end. We've had guys, make legacy statements with games and everything. And then on top of that, we have the NBA draft lottery, which I figured we were going to lead off this episode with. I assume everybody here has some pretty strong feelings about how the ping pong balls fell this year. If you've been living under a rock, the Dallas Mavericks walk away with the number 1 overall pick, the right to select Cooper Flagg. And then on top of that, it's Spurs 2, Sixers number 3. Who has number 4? You have the Hornets have 4, right?
Good old Hornets.
Okay. All right. Well, you're getting VJ maybe. There's some swings
awesome.
there still.
That would be not so bad. I could get myself excited for that.
Yeah.
Were your hopes up? Going into it, where did you feel?
This is what made me so mad about it. Is that they weren't. I was good. I was so they're not gonna win. I have no expectation that they're going to win. Whereas, in the Wembanyama year, I woke up that morning, I'm like, bro, why do I have a feeling? And then they get the second pick. They were that close.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
I had that in 2019 with Zion. I almost got in a car crash after the lottery, and my odds weren't even that good, but I just felt it.
Good odds don't matter anymore. Yeah. The meta is bad odds, I guess.
The meta's bad odds, yeah.
It is, but the issue is that then when the Hornets got into the top 4 and they went to that commercial break, and it was not only 3 teams that weren't supposed to win it, but literally the 3 teams that I had listed as the 3 least deserving teams for the first overall pick when I made my list, I was like, dude, it has to be us.
They can't.
It can't be Philadelphia or the Mavs or the Spurs. It has to be the Hornets. This is it. And then they immediately get the 4th pick, and it ends up going to Dallas. And now I've been upset for the last 3 days, and I've had to mute a few Mavs fans on my timeline because I don't want to lash out at them when it's not their fault.
Well, that's the other part of it is we're upset at abuse victims on the timeline. It's a Mavs fan happy about them getting Cooper Flagg. How can I be, the trauma
not their fault.
Of the Luka trade leading into this? From a fan perspective, it can't be upset at any of it. The emotional reaction people will have to it, totally fine. Being upset with the framework in place that allowed this to happen, I think there's no other response. As someone, part-time Wizards fan, and my girlfriend, she just got into basketball over the past year and a half, 2 years, and she's thrown her full Wizards fan. She really enjoys the Wizards, even though they're shit. And so her experience, we get to the top 6, and it's okay, guys, hold your breath. First envelope. Washington Wizards picking number 6 overall. And so, she just went through this
That's the devil's number.
whole year, 64 losses, just to immediately, the first frame, get blown out. And then, I agree, at that point, your hope just goes to the other lottery teams. Your hope goes to, Charlotte or Brooklyn or Utah or whoever was left at that point, because it's hey, at least then you could justify the process of what's happening here. But oh my God, it's like literally the way people talk about like, well, the NBA draft shouldn't reward this or that, or it shouldn't like encourage teams to be bad. It rewarded the worst decision made probably in NBA history, got the biggest reward in the Luka Doncic trade. And then it rewarded the most shameless tank job this season as well. Like, you could look to Charlotte or Washington or Utah, all these traditionally bad teams, and be like, well, they're tanking. But it's like, okay, but the like, they're bad. They are naturally bad teams. The Sixers are like, down year, we're going to lap the fucking Nets in February because they win 3 games. And all of a sudden they get to like, I don't know. It's just like, it feels like all of the results this year really highlight what's been bad about the changed lottery odds.
Well, they were genuinely bad too, the Sixers, because everyone just died.
Well, I mean,
like the whole roster,
like if you go look at some of the shit they were pulling in like down the stretch, and don't get me wrong, the Nets did a bad thing from the tanking perspective in winning some games in April or whatever, but again, coming from this idea that like, well, you shouldn't want teams to be bad. Brooklyn tried not to be bad and they got screwed. So it's like, I don't know that's just like my initial thoughts on it. Sponhour, you've been dealing with, the lottery for longer, old lady luck. This is just like the latest in a long line of big disappointments. What's up?
Well, I mean, like, the issue, because there was some talk about, like, the NFL potentially having a lottery. Not super seriously, but maybe to the point where it seemed like they were having a couple of people pitch it to see what the overall reaction would be. And I
Were
eventually...
we closer to that or the segregation game?
The segregation game?
Remember all the black players versus all the white players?
Well, I don't know if Adam Schefter was like, the segregation game would be a home run, but he did say that about the lottery. So I can't speak on which one we're closer to, outside of what the media is saying. I just I think the issue that with tanking, or with the lottery in general, I should say, is that it's kind of like a catch-22, where if you successfully prevent teams from tanking by ensuring that the worst teams don't really have that great of odds of getting the top pick, then nobody ends up tanking, and you just end up punishing teams that are actually bad. The lottery can help curb tanking, but it has a major drawback, which is what we saw today, in the sense that all of a sudden now your draft doesn't work to help the competitive balance of the league like it's supposed to. I know a lot of people like to say, well, we don't want to reward teams being really bad with top picks. And it's like, yes, we do. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You actually do want to have the worst teams get rubber banded back to the top. That's what makes the league interesting and helps parity. And I honestly think, actually, I feel really strongly that people have started saying this now because of the new CBA, where everyone's complaining about how, like, teams are getting punished for drafting too well, as if that's something that's happening. But logically, saying that teams who have a lot of good players and have to give a lot of good players contracts, having, like, a limit on them is a punishment, then you also have to look at, like, being bad during the year and being rewarded with a high draft pick as, a reward, or like the other way around. If you're good and you are super low in the draft, that's a punishment as well. But it just shouldn't work like that. I'm sorry. It does have to be a little bit of, if you stink for a long time, you can get a high pick and you can start to claw your way out of it. If the idea is, well, if you're super bad as a franchise, you're never going to see, a franchise-changing player, and you don't deserve one because you're just so bad as a franchise, it's circular logic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's, for every team that's, considered a terribly run franchise and hasn't won the first overall pick, I feel like there's some teams that have been incredibly lucky with winning the lottery and probably otherwise would be considered a bad, like, franchise, but instead they get the luck that they need. So I guess this is all to say, like, the lottery sucks. It sucks to have a lottery that matters as much as it does. I think it's still necessary in the NBA to some level, but there's some cleaning up you could do. Like, if the play-in is such a prize for teams, I don't know if the play-in losers should have any odds at all. or you probably could still have some level of improved odds as you move up, especially in those top few picks, or just like make it weight a little bit heavier. Give me 17, 18% for those top picks, anything. But the result of like the rich getting richer is far worse than like maybe slightly increased tanking that would come from a deflattening of the odds. That's my take, at least.
Yeah. Like, the thing that has popped into my head a ton while this has been happening is like the way conservatives talk about like food stamps or something as like, I would rather see 1,000 poor people not get any food. Like, kids will never get free lunch as long as it means I'm avoiding like 1 or 2 people abusing the system, quote unquote. Like this idea that
we can't give free college because what if the rich kids get it?
What if someone like just this idea that like treating teams that are bad as like, you know, conniving criminals that are
lottery
like
queens
scheming to like get this fucking goal, scheming to win like 17 games or whatever. It's so insane. And yeah, like I wrote down a bunch of shit. So they flattened the odds in 2019. 14% across the board for the worst 3 teams in the league, and then it goes to like 12.5%, 10%, all this stuff. The worst team in the league since 2019 never gotten the number 1 overall pick. They are more often picking 5th than they are picking in the top 2. And I believe if you just go like 5th overall pick versus 1 through 4, the worst team in the league is like barely picking 1 through 4 more often. It's like 52 to 48%. On average, 2 of the 4 worst teams completely fall out of the top 4. And we saw that again this year with Washington and Utah. And of 98 total lottery teams since 2019, 9 franchises have made up 46 of those appearances. So largely it has been one like group of repeat offenders that for whatever, like there's some guys that are, you know, jumping out. I think the Magic made up like 4 or 5 of those appearances, and then obviously they hit on Paolo or whatever. But yeah, to me it's just like clearly even like it's one, there will always be teams that are run poorly and that will show up in the lottery 7 times in 7 or 8 years. But the idea that like a third of the league is ass for most of a decade because they're all just making the wrong decisions is like that. It can't be true. Like there is something happening here that is putting these teams behind the 8 ball. And I mean, yeah, the odds are just fucking terrible.
And I think the teams that do make the wrong decisions, like the most incompetent teams are the teams that are stuck in the middle and that avoid like being,
do you know any
being
teams
in the high
like that?
lottery. Yeah, so actually the team I root for, the Chicago Bulls, we've actually been in that spot for a couple of years. In the NFL, they do the draft order. The teams, like, it goes as you advance in the playoffs, you get a higher pick, right? Like you don't keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they should. It does feel weird that the play-in teams are still with the same, like with the.
If it's such a prize, I mean, yeah. Look, I think ultimately it's the lottery issue ties back to I think a lot of the issues with the NBA, where it's just a very top-heavy league, and that makes a lot of things really difficult. Right?
Yeah.
You know, injury issues are such a problem in the NBA because if your top guy goes down, it's over. Like we saw with Curry, right? With the Warriors. I mean, like they have no chance the second that he goes down. Series over. The top pick is just so important because the top few guys matter so much. And there's like a Victor Wembanyama or a Cooper Flag. It's not impossible to be good without a top pick, of course. But it's impossible to be competitive without a top guy. To be truly contending without, I mean, at least the 15th best player. Realistically, to win a title, I mean, you need a guy who's pushing for first team All-NBA at the minimum, if not.
I mean, like the Cavs with Donovan Mitchell right now just got 5 gamed, and he was playing out of his mind. And they've had like multiple. They've put together, and we'll talk about them and like being soft or whatever later. But you could put together a good team in a bunch of different ways, but you need to be able to add that caliber.
But you have to have that guy, and they're just so hard to get. So I think I think it's really tough with having it just be such a top-heavy league. And I feel like some people say the NBA is run particularly poorly. I don't think it's run perfectly by any stretch, but I also think a lot of the issues that people point to are unique to the NBA just because of what basketball is as a sport. And that doesn't make it worse, but it does make it more difficult to run as a league a little bit.
And a lot of the problems are exacerbated by that slut Adam Silver focusing more on underwear ads than the basketball itself. But as for the new lottery system, people are always gonna people find things to complain about with the NBA. Like, even if they don't matter that much, it's always going to exist. And so, like, when the process Sixers were happening, people lost their minds. They were like, I can't believe this is allowed to happen. Despite, funnily enough, how many real NBA players ended up coming from those teams. Like, who was it? Covington, Jeremy Grant, some backup guards or whatever. But either way, people were like, I can't believe that we have this one team losing on purpose. This is destroying the sport. And then now we switch the lottery and we switch up the incentivizing. Now people want to go back. It's just a system where no one's ever going to be happy.
You can't get it perfect. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've seen people online.
Do we want like a college football playoff committee to determine the draft order?
Oh, okay.
I made a video on this and took it down because I was getting crushed. But like, the solution actually is to have a committee decide who deserves the first overall pick and so on. I mean, you could never do it because there's some years where it's just too important, and there would be, I mean, as much crying as ever. But over the course of 10 years, there is no fair way to divvy up the top picks than to have a committee basically say, well, this team just fucking tanked ridiculously. We're not going to reward that. This team hasn't had the first overall pick literally ever. It's their turn this time. That would be the solution to it. But since you can't really do that, you're stuck between trying to find the perfect balance of the lottery. You see people online say, like, there should be no lottery at all. That would be a disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think people are underestimating. It's like, what do you think the Jazz would do during the Wembanyama year? They would win 3 games. They would be insane, and that's what they should be doing if you made there no lottery.
I thought you were saying, like, the players choose, because that's also something people throw out there, like, it's slavery. Let them choose the team that they go to. But then Wemby's like, I would like to play with Steph Curry. I will go there, and then we're screwed either way too.
Right.
But yeah, in thinking about, like, this, well, maybe the answer could be a boxing system. You know how they have, like, their made-up little score? They just have, like, a few different judges. They're like, yeah, I scored it. These are my scores. This is how I feel. And so we have, like, this. 2 points off for. I didn't like your. You intentionally lost this game, so 2 points here, 2 points there.
Markkanen could have played February 3rd, February 24th. Lowry could have made the game, and you held him out.
Maybe how does the Tour de France scoring work? Let's just pick that up.
The one I have that, like, a lot of people have brought up, Professional Women's Hockey League, and I think this has just been introduced as their new lottery system. It's called the Gold Plan. As far as I could tell, when a team. And it would need to be a little different, but when a team gets eliminated from playoff contention, or I think even the playoffs at that, with the way it's described, the second that starts happening, they begin accruing lottery points. So the second you're eliminated from the potential of, like, a finals run or whatever, then you begin, like, pushing work towards where you're going to go in the lottery. And so you still want to remain as competitive as possible throughout the entire season. And I don't hate that idea. Obviously, like, you don't get eliminated from the playoffs until, like, 70% of the way through, mathematically at least. Like, it would take forever. The NBA would need to tweak it a little bit. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just clear to me that, like, shit isn't working right now, and
I like the current system relative, because I was thinking about this. Let's say, well, a couple different scenarios. The first one, let's say it was the Grizzlies who ended up having this jump, because that's like the Grizzlies beat them, right? And yeah, so let's say the Grizzlies end up having this jump, and then we're adding Cooper Flag to this team that was right now we're in a little bit of a limbo situation with Memphis, where people are like, I don't know, Jaren's going to be paid a lot, is Ja that good, blah blah blah. But if if we added Cooper to that team right now, would you guys be upset? Would you be like, that's not fair, or would you be more okay with it because it's like, okay, now we have a way more interesting team?
I don't know. I'm not really that upset in a vacuum. That, like, I'm upset that it went to Dallas because Nico Harrison does not deserve to have that happen. Morally, like, I'm pissed off about that. I'm more upset with the fact that the 4 worst teams in basketball are picking 4 through 7. Like, that to me is where I'm like, okay, this, like, and I get that you can find good players there. That's the other thing you hear people say. It was like, well, the 5th pick's not nothing. It's like, yeah, sure, but you need, like, a crack at that legit guy that we're talking about. Like, if the Grizzlies added Flag, people would be similarly upset.
I'd be a crybaby about it. I'd be mad that my team didn't get it.
Yeah. But, like, I don't know. My thing is more, I just don't think it's, like, an effective way to get bad teams the resources to be good, even if they make, like, the right decisions consistently. I think there's a way that you could still kind of end up being bad if you're a bad team in the NBA. Just the way, like, with, like, if you get bad luck. I mean, really, if, like, the Pistons got the Rizashea #1 overall pick.
Well, I'm thinking, what if it was just last year? Like, what if those Hawks ended up with Cooper Flag? I would be ultimately okay with that situation because the Hawks are another team that's like they've built in the right way for the most part and stuff. Like they've hit on a lot of picks, but they're still kind of stuck in the middle. And so if they were rewarded with a Cooper Flag type prospect, I'd be like, okay, well now we have another interesting team that's propelled out of the mud. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I'd still be upset it's not my team, dude. I don't know. I guess maybe if it wasn't the Mavs, it wouldn't be so bad. Like, I wouldn't even really been mad if the 76ers had won it, if I'm being completely honest. The only 2 teams that really make me upset are the Spurs and the Mavs. And they got the top 2 picks. Like, it is particularly
He had
unfortunate.
a blood clot. Come on.
Yeah.
What do you want him to do?
Well, the thing is, too, is with the Spurs, I'm thinking about, like, just their all-time luck. I mean, they won 60 games and then had David Robinson get injured for 1 year, won 20 games, landed the first overall pick, and that first overall pick was Tim Duncan. And then won 5 rings, became bad again, and then got the first overall pick in the best year to get the first overall pick outside of the LeBron year in which they won the title.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they've done all of that in the time since, like, the Hornets have last had the first overall pick. It's like, how's it even possible? So I guess there's no system that's going to prevent, like, one team from getting unfairly lucky outside of, again, a playoff committee, or if Adam Silver, like, actually just would rig it to be fair, which might be what I would do if I was him. But, yeah, I mean, it's never going to be perfect.
And what you were saying, when you were talking about the committee or whatever, and, like, how much pressure there would be in, like, the Victor Wembanyama year, there's just so many, like, people would get assassinated on that committee in the
It's just like, too important. And, again, it's just, like, Victor Wembanyama. It's, like, clearly this guy is going to be, like, a game-changing, not just for the franchise, but for the league as a whole dude. Someone has to get him, and every other team does not get him. And sorry, like, Brandon Miller is probably not going to be a consolation prize for the Hornets that, like, changes, their life. Of course, the Hornets' real issue isn't even their bad lottery luck. They've actually been okay in lottery luck. Outside of the fact that they haven't had a 1, they got a 2, they got a 3. And when they were the 9th seed, or the 9th worst team, they got a 3. But
well, wait, what were the years? So 2020, that year at the time of the draft, it was considered a rough draft. So, like, it wasn't. I don't know if people were ecstatic.
It wasn't a great draft. Like, a lot of people didn't consider Anthony Edwards to be a particularly good first overall.
Like,
pick.
all those guys were so risky at the time.
But what was considered then is that, like, the top 3 was pretty good, and you wanted to be in there. And, like, the Hornets getting 3 and then LaMelo falling to 3, and it was, like, very easy. Like, of course, this is what you're going to do. Now, if you look back on it, you would take Tyrese Halliburton But the issue with the LaMelo pick has been like he just doesn't stay healthy, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It makes no difference to the team in terms of wins. And it's kind of the worst of both worlds where people will be like, how are the Hornets trash with LaMelo and Miller? And it's like those guys will combine for like 40 healthy games, right?
Yeah.
And maybe 60 total games. And it's like, well, they're just not going to be any good. And then Grant Williams goes down and Trey Mann, I don't know, he played like 15 games. And it's like, well, there's half the rotation. And we drafted Tijon Salon, no disrespect, who's like 19 and probably the worst player getting like minutes. Seriously.
He brings a smile, baby.
He brought his smile.
He does bring the smile.
He called his shot. You can't be mad at him. But I do think the Hornets, like, for me, it's like got to be stamped number one, like most unfairly treated team. Because even like the Wizards, they've had John Wall, they've had other guys. I like it. The Hornets. What number one pick? Do you got it?
You're
in
thinking
the
of
90s?
2012 when they won 7. Oh, you're thinking of the pick that they had? They got Larry Johnson back in like 91.
Okay.
He was
And
a big deal.
and he was good, but he wasn't
That's 40 years ago now.
right. It's like that was a long time, and the Hornets were competitive for a while, and they didn't exist for a year, but they also won 7 games and got Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, you know. And they also have never won a 7-game series ever, you know. It's like that type of.
Yeah.
I was 1 the last time that they, or I think it was an infant the last time they won a playoff series. So it's just been a long ass time, dude. It's like, you know what? I had some people arguing in my comments, being like, yeah, but it's worse to be a Mavs fan where you have those high expectations and then you trade Luka to have a guy like that and lose him to be a Hornets fan. It's like there is no possible way I'm getting behind that take, dude.
It's the Naruto Sasuke argument. Who had the worst childhood? The one who never had a family at all, or the one who had his whole family genocided? Which one?
I would see. I don't think that scales because I think
No, it scales.
No, because the memory of like
Yeah, they have memories of Luka.
well, that's what I'm saying. The memories of Luka, like Luka versus Kawhi bubble battles or whatever. Like
that was sick.
those memories compared to the pain of losing Luka, I feel like there's a smaller gap between like playing catch with your father and the memory of him being killed. Like I feel like the second one's probably sadder.
I would agree.
But yeah, the idea that like, oh, you had Luka and you lost him, that's worse.
They've seen a championship and like double-digit playoff series wins and
They had Dirk
multiple
for 20 years.
Yeah, they had Dirk, and then I'm sorry you went 3 months without a franchise-changing player. It's like no, sorry, dude.
If they went 5 years, like 5 years post Luka, and just like fucked up decisions, fucked up injury, like the timeline that was laid out before the lottery for Dallas, if that had actually happened, then I could see the argument about like, okay, well, 15 years of the Hornets just being ass versus Dallas getting their heart broken and then being ass for 7 years. Maybe that's worse or whatever. But just nightmare for 30 minutes, and then you have Cooper Flag, and it's like, oh okay, I was being over dramatic or whatever. Like that's not worse than what the Hornets have been going through.
But not to make it all about Charlotte. I mean, there's a lot of teams that have been bad for a long time, and didn't get the first overall pick or didn't even get the 4th overall pick. I'm like kind of excited. I'm like, I can feel myself starting to be like, whoa, what if they're healthy this year and they nail the 4th pick?
Because they
They
shouldn't have even had those odds. It was
Bro,
just
all of
thing.
these, you guys are proving you don't even watch the Hornets. You don't know how hurt LaMelo was and how healthy he's gonna be this next year, bro. Then I see a little Pablo Escobar video about like Edgecombe being like the next Thompson twin. I'm like, and he's gonna fall to 4. Let's go. And what it's really going to be is LaMelo plays 10 games, Brandon Miller plays 40, but like is forced to shoot 1,000 threes, and we get Ace Bailey. Like I'm well aware of the timeline we're actually on.
Yeah.
Hey, Ace Bailey's growing on me. I've been.
Well, he's not growing in real life. He's shrinking.
Ah.
I haven't watched like the most of all of the prospects. Like not enough to be like, here's where I'm putting my foot down, because I don't watch a ton of college basketball during the season because I'm a little more focused on
I don't watch
on
any
the NFL.
so
And
we're
college basketball is
cool.
horrible.
And that's it's like I'll watch like the Bearcats or whatever, but outside of that, I'm not so
not
much.
tuning into Rutgers.
2 minutes left in the second half. The score's 38-42. We're coming to a nail biter.
But I will say the numbers on Ace Bailey are pretty concerning for a dude with his play style.
He's a straight up basketball terrorist. Like in so many, he's like, what if Kobe?
But
shot
he's
was
growing
even
on you.
harder. Yeah. So, but he's not like Jordan Clarkson or like a lot of basketball terrorists who it's like they have no feel for the game at all and they can't impact the game in any other way, or like Jalen Green or something like that. Ace Bailey, like if you just cut out the psychotic step back 360 turnaround no scope jumpers, like there's a lot of scalable stuff. Like rim protection from him goes crazy. Like he had a 4.0, he had a 4 block rate, and for bigs that's supposed to be 5, so he's like hardly under, and he's great at protecting the rim. He's okay defensively. He's a good cutter. His 3-point shooting, it's easy to see how he could like scale on a the problem is I watch everyone and I'm like, oh, I wish that this guy could get next to Jokic. Jokic could fix this guy.
Jokic could do something with this guy.
And I'm like, Ace Bailey, the 3-point shooting with Ace Bailey is he's a lot like Michael Porter Jr. in ways. But I think, and that's where I originally had him, in the Michael Porter Jr., Jabari Smith like archetype. But I do think he has he's a more capable athlete than those guys, and the handle is the main issue. But ultimately, I do think he could be a good like playoff player, but I don't like him for Charlotte because he can't get to the rim right now, and I can't have another guy on Charlotte. We can't be the Celtics if no one gets to the rim. It's just LaMelo 15 threes, Brandon Miller 15 threes, Ace Bailey 12 or 8 threes and 8 long twos. It's too much. We need to get someone in there.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
Oh man, fuck. Sorry.
Unless you have something else to say about this, I have a few questions for you if you want to get into the Nuggets and OKC and whatnot.
Oh my god! Hey, big game tonight, everybody. This will probably be coming out right around when that game is starting, maybe halfway through it. Let me time. What are we at? 32 minutes. Okay. What do you got for me?
Okay. Did you guys? Let me ask you this: did you guys talk about the Nuggets Thunder game on your last podcast?
Not the most recent one.
Did we even talk about? So we did talk about game 4. Nuggets played well enough, but Jokic, it's like one of the worst games of Jokic's career, and so we're caught up except for game 5.
Okay, cool. My first question though, I mean, outside of the fact that Jokic having a big game is a huge rebound, because I was gonna if Jokic finished this series, and we'll see how he plays tonight, but if Jokic finished the series playing like he did in like game 4 or game 3, it legitimately would be like a legacy changing series for him. Not in the sense that like all of a sudden this is a guy where it's like you start moving him way down your all-time board, but there is some level of like Jokic is just sort of unstoppable on offense, and he just doesn't play bad. He doesn't have stinkers, and then all of a sudden like he starts to have a sinker. Yeah. Right, exactly. It's like
2011 Mavs LeBron, where it's like, what the heck? I thought this guy was invincible.
Right. But my first question was actually, what do you think about him like jumping into defenders? And the whole foul.
I've spoken publicly about this a couple of times.
I haven't seen it.
So I am of the opinion it's ugly. It's ugly. It's not fun to watch. I'm not going to act like it is. However, as somebody who's been a proponent of one of the worst whistles in the league, like bruising play style, so no matter what is going on in the game, no matter what kind of game is being called, when it's a Jokic post up, let's let him play. I'm just gonna let's back up. They're gonna bump, and we're just gonna see what happens. So I think this is the natural extension of that, and it's ugly. And I think in this Thunder series there have been times where it's like, okay, quit trying to make a fucking point, dude. Like, I'm trying. It's like a big moment. The game is swinging in the wrong direction. And you're like, oh, I can't set this screen. Oh, someone just elbowed me in the stomach or whatever. And like, I get it. Because I'm fully on his side that like shit has not been fair or whatever. But in this series, there has been like moments where it's like, dude, come on. I will say though, the clip with Jalen Williams, he wouldn't let him go to the basket. And so their arms got tangled up. He wouldn't let him go, and he gets called. I thought that was foul because you gotta let him go to the rim. But whatever.
Here's the thing: I'm sympathetic to Jokic. I don't think you can be leaping into guys the way that he does. And the issue is that like that wasn't like one weird clip. He tried to pull that move earlier in the game as well, where it's like, what is he doing? And then he has that one where it's like, is it done that he jumped into and like took both his feet off the ground during the Clippers series?
Well, I think what it is he's trying to sell. There's a couple different things. Like he's always either trying to sell someone running into his screen too hard, someone not allowing him to get to the spot that he needs to set the screen at, or somebody like pushing him off the spot when he's trying to catch the ball somewhere. I feel like those are the most egregious moments where he's like clearly, ref, do something. But I mean, overall, like, I don't like it.
I love
it's not
100
fun
pound,
to watch.
100-pound Chet Holmgren ran into me too hard.
He's not letting me go where I want to go. Yeah. Okay,
well, because if he goes where he wants to go, then it's an offensive foul. And if he gets into foul trouble, the game is fucking over. And so, I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, ugly. But, like, if the thing I just described is the other option, I would rather see him flop than see him pick up, like, oh, God, there's a ticky-tack offensive foul. Because now the 100 pounds in the other direction matters. Now he knocked over Chris Dunn or whoever, and now it's a foul. I'd rather he flop and just like stay out of foul trouble. But again, it is very ugly. And I was thinking about it prior to Game 5, like the real nuke game. We had a big stretch where he was like exactly what people described playoff Embiid to be. Like people are like playoff Embiid. He was standing on 2 feet for 30 seconds total every game. He shot 10% from the field, and every move he made was just trying to get to the free throw line. He's terrible. And then like in reality, playoff Embiid's a little different. But like this version of, I mean, It's one of the more depressing moments in my time as a Jokic fan or a Nuggets fan because it's one thing to lose the dominant Jokic game, like I've been there before, but to lose and just be like, yeah, okay, this is completely on you. Like we were in position to win, and you just couldn't bring it home. That was incredibly frustrating. And so Game 5, more in familiar territory, but just like a different kind of annoying. It's been a stupid series, but I think everybody's done a good job of like patting the Thunder on the back for winning the game. It hasn't just been like complete Nuggets collapse. The Thunder have played really good basketball.
Yeah, I don't think it's been like too egregious one way or the other. I mean, obviously, like, you know, every time one team loses, like the sort of top 5% from that fan base are going to say, well, dude, the refs. There's just a certain type of fan that just says, well, dude, the refs every single game, right? And then there's people who are like, bro, we should have won this series by now because, like, their team has lost 2 close games, as if the other team hasn't also lost 2 close games. Like, yeah. I don't know. I think it should be 3-2. Right? I mean, this thing could be over.
Aaron Gordon, just the closest 3-pointer you've ever seen. This series should be fucking wrapped, dude. We should win every game.
Dude, if we just made all our shots. Right, like that type of stuff. I forget where I was going with this, though. I'm personally cheering for the Thunder because I think people have been too negative about SGA, but maybe when they win, then the opposite will come true for Denver. Or it'll start being true for Denver, and people will be too negative about Jokic or whatever. But I cannot have imagined watching the fourth quarter of Game 5 as a Nuggets fan.
Oh my god. My girlfriend kept trying to say things that would make me smile that were not related to basketball. And like, I love her and I never want to be mean to her or anything, but like in those moments I'm just like, how could I possibly react to that? Like, I'm watching my house burn down right now.
This is my brand. It's in my name.
and that, I mean, that's really the most frustrating part. On top of like all of it. And so Nuggets game 5, I'll just read some shit off here. 44 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, 80% true shooting for Jokic, 5 of 7 from 3. Nearly 70% from the field. One of the best playoff games of his career, really. It's up there with like every other big volume scoring explosion, and this is easily the best like defense team-wise he's faced. I feel like you could argue Zubac's individually, but as a team, I mean, this Thunder team is insane. One of the worst Michael Porter Jr. games I can remember in a career that's had like some very low lows to go along with the high highs of like the hot shooting nights. And on top of that, you get this crazy Jamal Murray third quarter of like 13 points in the third on maybe like 5 of 7 shooting, something like really efficient. Like it felt like we were building momentum. And then fourth quarter, he goes 1 of 6 from the field. The entire Nuggets team, I think Jamal made the only shot that any non-Jokic Nugget made in the fourth quarter. Jokic went 4 of 6 in the fourth. The rest of the team went like 1 of 12, I want to say. And so it was just like this continually, Jokic gives you a chance. He makes some insane shot. And then you get down to the other end and it's like complete defensive breakdown. Even like Jokic was not involved in any of these. Like it wasn't like, oh, he's too slow, somebody gets by him or whatever. It's like Michael Porter Jr. standing still, baseline dunk for Hartenstein. Jamal Murray makes the wrong read, wide open corner 3 for Jalen Williams. And so, I mean, yeah, it's just like the Thunder, like, I guess they have shooters that you were leaving open at that point or whatever. But, hey, Jalen Williams was 37% over the season. Lou Dort was 40% over the season. Like, this was a inherently volatile approach to defense, and it just bit them in the ass at the exact wrong time. I mean, what a disaster of a game. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. What are your thoughts on Porter Jr.'s future with the Nuggets? Are you like are you expecting a trade this offseason? Not to get into to talk like the season is over or anything.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, probably. Like, it's just
I've been trying to imagine what that looks like. What does the hypothetical Porter trade look like? Because unless you're like packaging him as like the salary for a star with like a whole bunch of other stuff and he just happens to be the dude, which I feel like, I mean, I don't know the Nuggets' exact situation, but I don't think they have crazy assets going into the future to do that with, then your option is probably closer to like, he's a bad contract and we're getting expirings back. And if that's the case, like, I just don't know if you can make a play like that and be like, we're going to possibly just be worse, you know, on the court for a season for monetary reasons that in the long run probably aren't even going to help you that much in terms of like building around Jokic.
I think so like there's a lot of layers to this. I think the first is, even though he's been awful lately with like the shoulder injury, I don't want to act like he's 100%. He's clearly playing through an injury, but he's been terrible in these recent games. I think this more so boils down to the fact that he's like the only real move, and I do feel like there are ways to upgrade the roster by moving him. I've seen some, like, really it would be like draft picks for depth in exchange. Like, I don't know if you get a player who is better than Michael Porter Jr. back, like better than the good version of Michael Porter Jr., but ideally you get a number, like multiple players who make up the salary that you can just rely on to be guys on the floor in a playoff series. One of the more ridiculous ones I saw, which, like, I think part of this also is all of the superstar buzz has a lot of teams throwing their hats into the rings for better players, is like a Michael Porter. Do you think getting Cam Johnson is impossible if you're the Nuggets? Do either, like, if you could give Michael Porter Jr. and 1 or 2 first-round picks, do you think you get Cam Johnson and maybe like one of the bigs on the roster back from the Nets? Does that sound like an insane package to either of you?
No, I think that could be totally doable. I mean, I think, is somebody going to outbid 2 firsts? I don't know. Is Cam Johnson worth 3 first-round picks?
Yeah, that's
maybe
the thing.
not. Now, there's potential for a lot of other teams, like if the Warriors were to call and be like, let me give you 2 firsts for Cam Johnson, which I think Carson from Turd Sesh tweeted out about. But like if they were to call, I think the Nets would look at that and say, that 2029 Warriors first, Curry's going to be 40. Like that I would prefer over any first I would get from the Nuggets.
Yeah.
I don't know how far into the
Give me
future you'd have to
Jokic's
go.
cell phone number. I need to see how much this guy likes basketball. I need
Exactly.
Hey, how long are you going to be here, pal?
And then I might not have to take on like a super bad long-term contract if I'm going to get 2 firsts from somebody else. So I don't know if I would like totally love the Nuggets odd, but like that's not like a crazy, trade finder nonsense move.
I think Michael Porter Jr.'s contract, let me look it up.
How many years does he have? Just 2?
I've got it. He's got 2 after this.
Okay.
38 and 40, so pretty pricey.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
it's insane. Like, holy fuck. It's too much, and like really, again, I feel like the path forward moving off of him is, the market for Jamal Murray will never be good enough to justify moving off of him.
No.
And you're like moving off of Aaron Gordon, insane. I think he's like
Right
instrumental
now.
to the team. Christian Brown, holy fuck. Like next year's the last season of his rookie scale deal. I don't know how they're going to navigate that, but certainly they couldn't really afford to lose a role player of that level. And so he's like Michael Porter Jr. is the only salary that like makes sense in any capacity. If you're a bad team, hey, take it on. Maybe you could like rehab his value a little bit in a vacuum or whatever. I don't really think that's going to happen once he's away from Jokic, but I'm just like trying to think through these delusional lines.
No. I think you're totally right. Michael Porter Jr. is a bad contract, but he's a bad contract in the sense that like he could still play some good basketball. Now, is he going to rehab his value to the point where whichever team trades for him can then flip him again? Not if he's making $40 million. Like what contending team has $40 million to trade for a Michael Porter Jr. Even if he's playing good level player, it's like not many unless it was like really, really cheap. But I think the Nuggets' core issue really is that like you can move some first to try to make a trade or whatever. But your issue is that you have not been hitting on your draft picks. And that inevitably, by not hitting on your draft picks, you're not getting new cheap talent in the door, right? And the real cost, I think, now with the new CBA stuff, and maybe this was true before regardless, but now it's especially true with the CBA, is that the cost of trading all of those draft picks from in the future for like, the Aaron Gordons of the world or whatever, is that eventually down the line you are going to run into salary issues. It works like the NFL. The goal is not just to have talented players, but to have talented players on cheap contracts. And if you're selling off, we'll call them lottery tickets, right? But if you're selling off your lottery tickets for like even value, it ruins your chances of scratching them off and hitting the $1,000 prize that you might need to be the best roster in the NBA, even if you have Jokic in his prime, averaging a triple-double and doing whatever.
Yeah. I think every margin move the Nuggets have made for like 3 years has just been terrible.
And you just can't survive that. It doesn't, like, there's just no system, there's no world where you're going to be able to get away with, everything being awful. Westbrook's been not bad. That's been...
like,
That's a miracle.
That's an enormous hit. Like, if Westbrook was what people expected him to be, this is like a disastrous situation. And so you look at like everything they've done. What's the number one thing you can't do in the NBA? To me, pay a non-star guy like a star. You do that with Michael Porter Jr. all of your wiggle room goes out the window. You have no more ability to like really mess things up. Give out two of the worst contracts in the NBA. Dario Saric, I don't know, that's insane. Reggie Jackson, also insane.
Zeke Naji. The Bulls were insulted by the prospect of a Zeke Naji trade.
Oh my god, yeah, Zeke, everybody, and then you also don't hit on whoever. Like, I mean, we love a Jalen Pickett post up here as much as anyone else.
Shout out Jalen Pickett.
Nobody on the roster. There's 6 playable guys here, and I think Peyton Watson has like outperformed what you could have expected him to do coming into this.
He's a plus defender.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, the 1-3 a game he's taken against the Thunder, I think it's fallen at like a respectable enough clip. And he's like one of the guys where if you're looking for the Doctor Strange 1 timeline or whatever, Peyton Watson's still someone that you look to and you're like, hey, Aaron Gordon, miraculous shooting leap from this guy. All of a sudden we have a good player. All of a sudden we have a very good NBA player that like we can throw into the lineup or whatever. And I mean, yeah, we are talking like the season's over a little bit. I don't think it's insane if the Nuggets force 7 or like if they win in 7. It's like we've seen way crazier things happen.
No.
It's just, it's frustrating to lose both. It's frustrating to lose rest of the team plays well enough in a Jokic stinker that the game is close in the fourth and you fall apart. Jokic plays well enough to carry a rest of the team as bad game to a close fourth quarter game, and you fall apart in the other way. And so everybody's got to be on the same page tonight. Like, you have to get good games from every option.
Yeah.
The one thing you can take, like the one advantage that the Nuggets have that most teams don't have is that Jokic makes a lot more guys playable than any other player in the league. Like, a lot of Westbrook's success does come down to that he's just making more threes than he usually does, like wide open threes.
Well, not in the Thunder series, but before that.
Yeah. But, like, straight up, I thought it was untenable for him to ever scale to play with anybody.
Right.
But he had a good synergy with Jokic this entire year. And we talk about all these guys who people say like Jokic made, like Bruce Brown and stuff like that, and KCP, even though KCP was good without him, but still. There are guys that Lakers champion.
Hey, well,
Watch
that was
your mouth.
before. I'm saying we all watched him, you know. Michael Porter Jr. wasn't 100% in the Wolves series. He shoots 27%. KCP shoots 25%, just chilling out. And so it's like, hey, I mean, is that like, if you're shooting 25% next to Jokic, you throw him next to fucking Paolo, and you're surprised that shit goes down.
Well, yeah, it's the Paolo effect, dude. It's his selfish mid-range jump shot taking.
They do miss his defense.
People.
They do. The point of attack KCP stuff has just, like, that's really one spot where it's like, I think Christian Brown has held up really well against SGA, better than, like, I expected him to.
Yeah.
But really, like, the point of attack screen navigation stuff that KCP had, nobody else on the team has had all season, and it's made them worse.
And Michael Porter Jr. in a lot of ways is the ultimate Jokic merchant, like even at his peak, because this is a guy who couldn't get to the rim on his own at all, and he can't pass on his own at all. But it didn't matter because he just embraced cutting and became like this ultimate off-ball weapon. And so it is easier to like look around the league and imagine different guys that if we just throw them in this different scenario and like if their value's low, get them on a minimum. And I like. This has happened with the Bulls where we've had so many guys on our bench that have gone on to make impacts for playoff teams. Luke Cornett did it last night. Luke Cornett was nothing
He had like 7 blocks, right?
Yeah.
That's the total we ended up
legacy
with.
game.
They were like, get Porzingis out of here. Luke's on fire tonight. But it happened with Derrick Jones Jr. And so there's guys I
Bulls
wonder.
legend Chris Dunn. I know he went to the Hawks
Chris
after
Dunn.
you guys, but yeah.
Yeah, so there's guys on the fringes out there. The guy I love so much, what's his name? Javonte Green, correct? Who's Javonte Smart? That's always a battle in my head. Javonte Green, he's on Cleveland, right? Yeah, him next to Jokic, I'm dreaming. So that's the one thing you could take pride in. But yeah, also I do think this Nuggets Thunder series in general, I think this is like some of the highest level basketball I've ever seen played on both ends. Mm-hmm. And I listened to the latest Ben Taylor Thinking Basketball podcast. They were hinting that he's thinking this is the best defense he's ever seen. This Thunder defense.
I don't think that's insane.
No, it's not. And so when we talk about like the Jokic legacy impact, we got to think about power scaling. And so maybe it's not Jokic failure. It's boost up OKC. Hey, nobody could do this. Which, to be fair, last year we were doing this with Minnesota, and then they looked like more of a regular defense the next round.
Jokic was killing them, though.
And he was killing them individually. But this OKC, they have the bona fides to back it up. They have like the defensive rating, and they have 20 different guys who put in incredible, insane ball pressure on everything you do. And so if we go if they close it out tonight, which I've been thinking the Nuggets have been on borrowed time this entire time, and so if OKC hits threes tonight,
we were talking Game 6 of the Clippers series. How are they alive right now? And so to get all the way here, yeah.
Was Game 2 the Aaron Gordon putback in the Clippers series?
I think that was Game 4. I swear. I don't think because Game 2 the Clippers bounced back and won in Denver, I believe. I think
could it have been Game 1. Did the Nuggets win Game 1?
Well, the Aaron Gordon, the dunk came in LA, so I think it was Game 3.
It was
Game. I
had
to guess.
Okay, but yeah, the every time something like that has happened, I've been like, yeah, you escaped death today. It's coming for you. Game 4. Okay. But so if OKC does go, let's say they close it out, and then next round, just Anthony Edwards plays the worst. Like, everyone on the Timberwolves is just completely shut down. And then we get to the finals, and whoever, the Pacers, they score 70 points a game or whatever. Which now that would be such a fascinating finals matchup to see if that speed can still penetrate all this Oklahoma City defense, or if the Oklahoma City defense scales to their speed and consumes them right back, because that's really the one thing. The speed and the physicality of this defense is what's giving Jokic problems. They're hitting him constantly, and then these guys Jokic is doing all the regular Jokic manipulation stuff, but all these guys have such crazy reaction speed and instincts that they're able to make plays and stuff like did you see the one play where Alex Caruso is he touches Jokic to fake like he's putting pressure, and then he just puts his hands up. He doesn't even know if anyone's behind him, but he intercepts the ball and it stops a layup pass. It's we're battling in the fourth dimension. We can't.
Right, they've got 3 to 4 crazy ones where they just jump something ridiculous and take it to the house. It's next level. I could see him being I guess super high on your all-time defensive list. They got to close it out though. I'm afraid they got to cement the legacy and go win the title, or else we got to start having a real tough conversation about someone.
I would say these two games probably, I mean, don't get me wrong, you don't like going into the fourth quarter down twice or whatever, but especially this most recent one, SGA, I would say the fourth quarter of Game 5 is one of the more comfortable moments he's had in the postseason so far, in terms of both, the pull-up midi just being oh, yeah, it's happening now. The same shot I could have gotten at any point during this run. I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to score 15 in this quarter. And also playmaking and stuff. It felt like every time the games have been close, you either saw too much passivity from Shea or too much let me cook, and this was a very good balance of guys hitting the shots. That's also part of it. It's if Shea swings it and Lou Dort bricks it, then all of a sudden that's not a good play or whatever. But it was Shea closed that game incredibly well. If he comes into Game 6 like that, the Nuggets have their hands full regardless of how Jokic plays.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think on some level too, the Thunder have maybe struggled a little bit with not trusting themselves. The threes stopped falling for a little bit, and then they got a little bit too concerned with closeouts, and they would, act like they're about to shoot and then cancel out of it and decide not to.
There's a million pump fakes that do nothing if you go back and watch some of these forts.
And then the Nuggets had like a step on them for a lot of this series with that type of stuff, where they seemed to be like making the next defensive move to respond to what the Thunder wanted to do on the perimeter. And eventually it's just like, you got to have the threes fall, so you got to respect everybody, so Shea can get more comfortable, so he can get to, all of his different spots, so he can trust them. It's like, and everything has sort of clicked into place for him a little bit now. And we'll see, I guess, if they can keep that up.
Pablo, do you have any final Thunder Nuggets thoughts?
Well, just backing up what he was saying, like Jalen Williams in this most recent game, like they went under a ton, and he had wide open chances to take a pull-up three, but he did not want to do it at all. Mm-hmm. And so really, like this team has the shooting to eviscerate these guys, but yeah, when you're able to make them hesitant, then that's really the
I think what it's come down to is that they're just scared to put the game in the hands of variance, which is probably what they feel like with the shooting, where it's like, dude, I mean, because all the pressure is on them. It's like they should beat these guys, and now you got everybody, not that they're watching Twitter that much, but like you got everybody on Twitter saying,
this
like,
is
the Thunder don't get it done this time.
This is one of the teams that does it the most, if I had to guess. Like they're probably the most locked into like the narratives
probably
online.
True, yeah. So I don't actually know. People talking about the Thunder's window is interesting. I agree that windows are way shorter than people think. Because, again, it's like the NFL now, where you have to have good value contracts, and just because you get good doesn't mean you get to be good forever and ever and ever. But the Thunder are also like pretty clearly a unique case in terms of where the team is and where it's going to go.
It's like the best scouting team has the most picks in perpetuity. That's
right. It's like, well, they could just trade all their picks for more like cheap, good role players. Whereas like every other contending team is like, we've got 4 firsts, we've got our 20, we got 1 first, our 2027, and that's it, and whatever. The Thunder don't like that.
But they are. It's interesting. So thinking about the Tatum injury, immediately the Celtics' like entire future comes crashing down. Everything becomes a million times harder. If that were to happen to the Thunder, Shea tears his Achilles tonight. I'm not hoping for this.
Knock on wood.
No. But if that were to happen with Shea, that does make things very complicated as well, because then you go into next year. You're probably not a contender because we've talked about recently. I've had the entire like starting last playoffs. I had a recalibration of Jalen Williams. I thought this was going to be Shea's co-star, but now it's looking more like great defensive guard who on the right night can do big stuff offensively. And I'm starting to have the recalibration with Chet. If we go into next year and it's like, well, this is just a gimme development year, we don't have our MVP, and then when Shea comes back, then we're having like the same Jaren Jackson conversations about Chet, where it's like, is this guy worth $67 million a year, and he's hasn't come along offensively how we thought? Then everything becomes super duper complicated. But for now, they definitely have the widest window out of anybody.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I get the window talks because plenty of teams are like, you can't have Stephon Castle for Giannis. Fuck off. You're not getting him.
We got to talk about that later. I can't believe I cannot. That is the most powerful trade asset on the planet right now.
The concept of Castle.
The fact that people have decided Stephon Castle.
Do you know what's happened?
Like, franchise alter. What
do you got?
My buddy buys 2K25. I haven't played 2K in a few years.
I haven't either.
And Stephon Castle on there is an 84 overall, which is crazy.
Right now.
Now, to be fair, overall inflation is nuts. If you're not an 80 overall, like, you're basically trash. Nobody who's below like a 78 overall is like even really getting minutes, I think. But the issue is that, like, when you run a franchise, because I've seen him do it, Stephon Castle becomes, like, one of the great stars of the league very frequently.
He's got 99 potential.
And there is literally no possible way that has not influenced, like, a good portion of people on Twitter.
Yeah.
It has to. And of course, he won like Rookie of the Year as well. So
Yeah,
It's a good rookie season. I hate sounding like I'm some kind of like he's garbage or something. And this is just more of my larger point. Like there's plenty of teams that hurt their window because they grow an impressive young player, and it's like, well, he means I'm emotionally attached to this guy, so you can't have him for a top 2 player in the world. But with the Thunder, there are like much more reasonable explanations for why they would just hold off or whatever.
I don't mean to keep bringing up the NFL, but here's a way to think about it, because it is getting more like the NFL. You got to think about it in those
terms.
terms.
It's a GM's league now. That's what they're saying.
I hate that the NFL is like, we won the Super Bowl, half the team is gone for paydays.
It is a little too. It can be a little too much at times. But you know how like you get a rookie quarterback on a deal,
Russell Wilson,
and you get like so you have this rookie, and you're like, we've got to make good on our quarterback's rookie contract over the next 4 to 5 seasons, because that's when we have the most money to spend, and when we have to pay them, it's like we're basically losing our biggest value, save. Like
It's
we've
the
got to
biggest
take
asset.
advantage.
Right.
Wemby on a rookie contract.
Wemby is
right?
that.
Yeah.
Wemby is that right now. He might not be at the peak of his powers. He is right now at the peak of his value. That's true.
And he was already too good before the injury. Like, they were already propelled to heights where they shouldn't have been, and it was going to be detrimental because they were fighting for that play-in spot off of him being the best defender on the planet.
Right. If you don't want to, try to go trade for a major star to pair Wemby with right now, fine. But when Wemby is getting paid $60 million, you won't be able to put somebody next to him who's getting paid $60 million.
By the time he's there, it'll be like 85 or something.
It'll be whatever it is. He'll get the first $1 billion contract or whatever.
36-year-old Wemby, end of the line Wemby, first $100 million player.
It'll be before then, I think.
When he's like 37 and they're giving him the
the
thank
legacy
you.
deal.
When he gets the legacy deal for $400 million a season or whatever.
400 million. Hey, French Bill Russell, thanks for all that you did. We're 12 titles deep. Yeah, and so I don't even remember the Thunder's window. It's different than those teams. I don't have a problem with them not, because they have all of that. I feel like at the same time when we're talking about recalibrating on J-Dub or Chet or whatever, you're also like, hey, don't get any accolades. I don't want to see an all-NBA team. I don't want to see all defense. I don't want to see shit.
And J-Dub's definitely getting it this year, right?
Yeah, one of them probably. So, yeah.
They got out ahead, and they've been paying their role players a little earlier. Am I making that up?
No, because the Aaron Wiggins deal and the there's one other.
second rounders have to get paid sooner. Their rookie contracts are shorter, and so they've been hitting on Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe.
It's
Aaron
Isaiah
Wiggins.
Joe. It's the other. Aaron Wiggins is literally getting $9 million a
year. He's on an incredible deal.
Wiggins is getting. Wiggins has a descending contract. He's getting paid 10 this year, then 9, then 8, then 7.
I would have taken him for Caruso.
Yeah, it's just
and Caruso next year at $18 million. Dude, that's not even.
Michael Porter Jr. is making $40 million a year in 2 years, dude.
And Caruso's contract increase doesn't outpace the rate the salary will increase at. Isaiah Joe is also on a descending contract. Dang.
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting sick of this shit. Spawn, I want to throw the ball to you. We have Cavs, Pacers, Wolves, Warriors, Knicks, Celtics that we haven't talked anything about. Obviously, 2 of those series are over. What do you want to talk? What do you have the most thoughts on?
Well, I have 2 more proposals for we haven't talked Tatum Achilles, and we haven't talked.
Well, that's
Giannis.
in the Knicks Celtics, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah.
All right, well then let's talk Knicks Celtics, right? I mean, I guess it's the only series that's still going, and I think it's got the most interesting. Although I think all of them are pretty interesting. But if you guys haven't talked Tatum Achilles, that's got to be what's up next.
we haven't. That's why it was another layer of like the lottery's happened, Cavs season's done, Tatum's Achilles.
And there's just so much shit going on. Yeah.
And the last time you were on, Sponhour, I swear like half the episode we talked purely injury shit. It was like around winter, and it was all.
It was election day.
Oh yeah, okay, there we go.
Oh shit, yeah, it was.
Yeah, and so this is like evidence of all that stuff.
Well, I mean, look, the injury stuff I obviously banged the drum on a lot on Twitter about. I try to limit it so I don't get someone big quote tweeting me being like, all NBA fans want to do is complain. But it is a big deal. The injury stuff is really bad. And it's one of those things, it's like the college football playoff expansion, honestly, where it's one of those things because, like, the counters you hear to it are so frustrating. Like, it just gets so mad where people are like, NBA players are getting injured more because they're so soft. But then when the injuries actually happen and you're like, look, people are like, yeah, it's just a freak accident, bro. That guy's just injury prone, bro. But then it's like half the league is having freak accidents or injury prone or whatever.
Entire classroom full of kids in a room painted with asbestos, and they're like, hey, it's just an accident that everybody's got cancer here. I don't know what else to do.
And again, it's obvious. Go ahead.
Well, no, finish your point.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's obviously one of those things, again, I brought up earlier, where it's like one injury can just sink you so badly in basketball, whereas, even in football, even with a quarterback, I mean, the idea of, like, losing your quarterback and winning the Super Bowl, it's totally possible. In basketball, I mean, like, it's a mini miracle the Celtics won a game last night without Tatum, you know what I mean?
If you lose your second best player in basketball, it's over, pretty much.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the only team that I can think of who was missing a major player in the finals and still won was the super stacked Celtics, who like only had Porzingis a little, right? But they're the freakish outlier, basically. I mean, outside of that, it's like Cavs missing Kevin Love. I probably said this exact same thing on the last podcast, I'm being honest. But
that was months ago. So, I mean, we're just recycling shit at this point. Let's get it.
Right. But I guess if we're just talking about like Tatum and the Celtics, because like injuries are happening a lot and they suck. I don't know if it really changes the math on what they were doing, because they're kind of going to blow this thing up anyway a little bit. I mean, I think there's a few things you look at where, how old is Drew Holiday? Is he going to be good to go 2 seasons from now? Like, I don't know. I don't know how much longer his contract is. Porzingis is...
It's a while.
Porzingis is expiring. He's one of the guys that they didn't pay to bring back. And now with how he's looked, I mean, there's just no way that you can really choose to do all that much with him. I don't know if they're actually going to be bad enough to tank, though, is kind of my thought. I mean, I guess you don't really need to be that bad to get a top pick, supposedly. But... I have a hard time buying, like, what are they going to do? It's like, okay, they could move off Porzingis. Maybe they could, like, try to move Drew Holiday, but he's on a big deal. Like, maybe that would be kind of tough.
So they have to, it's almost, because they're, like, so far deep in the luxury, if they kept this group together, they'd be hit with, like, a $500 million tax bill or something, like, completely unprecedented. So they're probably going to have to get rid of Porzingis, Drew, and Sam Hauser.
Oh my God, he's a nugget, baby. Let's go. Porzingis out the fucking door, in my opinion. Like that's something.
And so
where
he's got 1 year left. He'll make $30 million next year.
Oh my God.
And then he's unrestricted, and he's right now fully back to Dallas Porzingis, where like.
Well, that's not to like bring up the game or anything that they like miraculously won. The swing was benching Porzingis. The swing was, hey, Luke Cornett, come in and be big. And it's like, oh shit, you're a plus 20 in 26 minutes, and you're like completely fucking dominant on both ends of the floor. Porzingis, just awful the entire postseason. I don't know what the injury or the illness is, mystery illness. And what's crazy is Mazzulla had a quote where he's like, well, I benched him because he told me to at halftime. But if he's good to go for Game 6, I'm starting him Game 6.
And it's like, what the hell is... Look, I'm pro Missoula for the most part. Like, what the hell is he talking about? Where he's like, yeah, he was having trouble breathing. It's like, dude, you can't say that and then put him back out there. And you can't... To put a guy who's having trouble breathing out there is ridiculous because, like, obviously he's not going to play good. And he's, like, very sick. But then to say that in the press conference, be like, yeah, this guy... if he gets targeted too much, it's going to be a real issue, but we got to play him, so we're going to put him out there. It's like the Knicks are going to go at him every single time and just completely ignore him.
If you drive left on this guy, he's going to die. So
yeah, it's like, so we got to hope they don't do that. It's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, and so Porzingis, I'm done with that experience. I think Drew Holiday...
The post-ups are gone. Last year he was like... last year the Porzingis post-up was like the most efficient play in basketball or whatever. It's back to Dallas. Like last year I was like on crazy, but I was like, guys, it wasn't like this in Dallas because people were like, him and Luka can't believe they broke it up.
do it.
I'm like, no, you guys don't realize he couldn't do anything in the post. Well, that's back. Like a Porzingis post-up is the worst play ever invented.
And he's bad at rebounding, and he's bad at defending right now. Even though like the rim stuff, like you get just so much more with Cornette out there. And so you? Sorry, you go.
I'm totally interrupting you. How are the Celtics going to get off of this money though? They can't just like they're going to have to.
Anyone's going to move any money around at all. Everybody is completely like tied up.
The whole thing is like. It really would be simpler if they just had a hard cap, you know? Like, the current rules are just so funny. And I like the new CBA. I'm like one of the only new CBA defenders.
Your second apron head?
Mm-hmm. I think a more restrictive salary, rules or whatever, I think it's good. I do. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that like teams being able to keep their players forever is like necessary. Although I will say this, the second apron gets like blamed for everything. It's hilarious. It's like any issue that any team has is a second apron. And people like on TikTok or whatever, I'll get comments. It's like, I just think like any and every possible angle or take for it. It's like, oh, it's worse for small markets, which it's not. It's better for small markets or cheaper teams to have a second apron. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm kind of for it.
A lot of it is like your team just made a bad choice. That's why you're upset right now. It's like the Denver Nuggets aren't bad because of the second apron or whatever. It's because they're handing out bullshit to like bad players, and that's.
But the issue is that like teams just get stuck so easily now in the NBA.
Yeah,
that's like the problem that you have, and it's like if you had like a hard cap, maybe teams wouldn't get stuck so much because everything would be moving around a little bit more and you wouldn't end up in this like territory. But I guess the solution to that you would never have the team that the Celtics have right now. You'd never be able to pay, 4 guys, 5 guys, $30 million or whatever. But how are they going to get off of these deals? Because they can't take an expiring. They can't do it.
And the second apron, they're over it right now, right? Or are they not over? Because
they're gonna have to just sneak under the second apron. They are in it. I know that for.
My issue with the like highest level of it is like it just becomes so convoluted to do anything to get out of it because like you can't even aggregate players in a trade. You can't at the highest level. Like this is where the Suns are right now. Like you can't do 3 guys for 1 guy, even if the salaries match, because that's not allowed under the new CBA rules. That kind of stuff is where I'm not into it.
I don't know. Here's what I think it might end up happening. If I had to make a prediction just glancing at it. So they're $4 million over this year, meaning that they were in the second apron. Next year, it's more like 20. Being in back-to-back years starts messing with the first-round picks, right? Porzingis is making 30. Jrue is making 32. I bet you what they might end up doing is saying it is easier to trade Jrue Holiday than it is Porzingis. If we trade Jrue Holiday to a team that has some cap space, maybe they just end up eating the cap straight up for like a first-round pick or something like that, and then they could like flip Holiday for not a ton, but like a little bit of something to, some semi-competitive team or whatever. And then we're going to sit on the Porzingis deal and let it expire. And when Tatum comes back, will be $60 million less in cap space.
Yeah.
And we're going to draft, and then we're going to be bad for a year, and maybe we won't end up getting like the first overall or anything. Maybe we end up just in the mid-teens, but then our path forward is just going to be like hitting on draft picks, and we're going to be paying Tatum and Brown and White, and there's no way out of that. But we'll be off the 2 bad contracts that we need to get off of, and we won't be anywhere close to the second apron, even paying those guys. That could be the move.
Well, the issue with this is the East is going to be so bad next year that like
they're going to end up the 8 seed, you know, like they're going to end up the 5 seed, or they're going to get the first seed. It's going to be sick stuff.
If Jaylen Brown and Derek White play and they're the 8 seed, I would be really surprised. Like, it's just too talented of a team.
Well, because the Heat are going to. I mean, hold on, let me go.
The Bucks are gone. The Heat should be worse, right?
Yeah.
The Magic will still be solid. Maybe the Hawks will be better.
Much better because of like the health with the Magic. Like you have to, and like they have to shoot the ball better next year. You figure,
and maybe you know Toronto is more competent with all those dudes. I don't know.
You know what's sick about this shit is that my team is not going to make the playoffs in this Eastern Conference. They're
like
not even going to sniff that shit. They have no chance of making the playoffs in this Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, your Bulls are probably conference finals bound, dude. It's looking real good.
Contract. We're seeing the postseason.
Yeah.
Little Kuminga, Josh Giddey combo. I'm liking what I'm hearing, bro.
Did you see the report today? He's looking for $30 million a year.
That's doable.
Yeah, that was Giddey, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you guys have already sent in the offer on that, man.
Well, he's restricted, and so one thing the Bulls like to do is we like to bid against ourselves. There's literally one team that can offer him money, the Brooklyn Nets. I'm praying to God that they do, but I'm worried they're not even going to offer anything, and Arturus is going to be like, 40. All right, 45.
You just want him to feel wanted in Chicago is the thing. You want him to know he's welcome
a big deal
there. Yeah.
You know who else felt wanted in Chicago? MJ. And how did that work out?
Okay. But yeah, I have bad Bulls premonitions all the time. I worry about Kuminga. I had another one last night, but I can't remember what it was. But, you know, so the Bulls actually have 9 players, Matt, between the ages of 20 and 25. I'm not sure if you knew that. And after this draft, probably going to be 10. So 10 guys between 20 and 25 years old. And then we're going to move up in a weaker Eastern Conference. And so what does that sound like to you when you go from the 10th seed to maybe the 8th seed and you have 10 guys in between 20 and 25 years old? That sounds like progress. That sounds like an extension for this GM.
Oh,
I mean, you have to agree. And they'll be building towards something, man. It's going to be nice, dude.
Light years ahead. Patrick Williams, that was another guy we bid against nobody. Like, he didn't we just and which at the time I didn't even think that was a bad contract because he was statistically one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA, and he shot 40% on low volume.
It's little Kawhi.
Right. But now he's just straight up one of the worst. That Patrick Williams is a guy Denver could rehab. I'm pretty sure.
Get him next to Jokic. All right, I don't give a fuck. We're talking way too much about the Bulls. Celtics, Knicks. So the Celtics, regardless, I think next season it's a wash by the current standards of we win 58 games every year and we're like a threat to win the finals. How do you feel about this Knicks team, Matt? It's been a pretty interesting season in New York. A lot of motion, a lot of aura, a lot of Timothée Chalamet on the sidelines. I don't know. It's just crazy. And all of a sudden, this is not the calmest Game 6 in the world. After losing Game 5 in that fashion. And
Stephen A's nervous.
Hey. I don't want to be like a Knicks hater or anything. Well, because they went up 3-1 and their best players hurt and all this shit. But, like, I don't know. What are the vibes with New York for you, Matt?
I mean, I don't know. I think they're probably going to get this series done. I mean, if I had to guess, of course. The Celtics played a lot better of a game. I mean, Cornette was good when you had Porzingis in there, and it was a disaster. It's like you have somebody who can protect the rim a lot more, obviously. Jaylen Brown stopped being so, like, out of control, I guess. And when he's playing his best ball, I think I don't think he's necessarily better without Tatum, but when he's got to be the lead guy, it's sort of a different thing. And I thought the Celtics just sort of stepped up altogether.
Yeah.
With the Knicks, I'm worried that the offense outside of Brunson is just too inconsistent, is my issue. And I think you've given up a lot to get where you are right now. And they're competitive. I mean, they're going to have a real chance to make the finals. Ultimately, like, that was the goal. But if we're looking at, like, their long-term future and their short-term issues that are probably going to be long-term issues in the sense that, like, you know, Game 5, Mikal goes crazy from mid-range, but he's also going to have stretches where he's, you know, a complete dud on offense. Cat is going to have times where he's shooting the lights out and, like, taking heat checks, and then, you know, they're giving him attention and he can make some really great passes, and then he's going to have times where he just can't beat mismatches. It's been the same thing with Cat forever. Like, he's a good player, he's not a great one, right? Mm-hmm. Mitchell Robinson might have times where, you know, he gets hack-a-shacked or whatever, and that can slow down your offense. Or Brunson isn't even, you know, immune to having cold games because so much of his game relies on jump shooting. Like, he's maybe even a little bit more prone to it at times, although, you know, he's been awesome and like a complete another level. I compare that to the Pacers, whose offense just feels like so flawless, I guess. Like, they just move the ball so well and they make the right decisions so frequently, and who also has been playing like really great defensive ball and is going to have more rest. I guess my thought with the Knicks is like, this is a good outcome for them. I think going forward they've got a good chance. Like, you know, they could absolutely come out of the East this year, and if they don't even come out of the East this year, they could come out of the East next year. And maybe the Mikal trade isn't perfect, but you know what Mikal is? He's healthy. He gives you a shot. He's not going to be a guy who gets injured and sinks a playoff run, knock on wood. So, and I think there's value in being kind of younger and having a lot of cracks at it. Because we've seen a lot of teams, you know, be good enough to win the title year after year after year, and it just comes down to, like, which year do they get the luck? I mean, the Bucks, oh my God, dude. Legitimately, in the 2020s, they've probably been healthy enough, like, maybe 1 or 2 times, but most seasons, it's just like they just fall apart, you know? Mm-hmm. The Nuggets have had season where they fall apart. The Lakers, after they won a title, they fell apart. LeBron got banged up. Same thing with, like, the Warriors are typically, like, just falling apart. I'm not saying these are all necessarily the top contenders. So having a lot of cracks at it and healthier guys is important. And I like the fact that they're going to be able to, you know, like, run it and run it and run it. But they don't have, like, you know, they're not going to ever be, I think, the top title contender. And if they were ever win it all, it would be a pretty notable upset, I guess, is my thought.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like I've just, like, every step of the way with this entire experience, I've just been too low on the Knicks, and every moment that, like, it's come down to it, Jalen Brunson's, like, just burned it into my brain that, like, you're wrong. I'm that good. This team's that good. Shut the fuck up. Whatever. Right. And there's been a bunch of different moments throughout this postseason where, like, I talked it through logically, and I was just wrong, an idiot. Having the Clippers series where I was like, how the fuck are the Nuggets gonna beat these guys? And then it's just like, you know, blown out in Game 7. I thought that, like, I sided with, like, the top talent in the Lakers series, and the Wolves just fucking nuked them off the floor. And so maybe having probably the best player in the Pacers matchup moves the needle quite a bit. It's just like you said, flawless basketball. When the Pacers are rolling, there's just so much, like, I described it as redundancy for, like, guys to have bad games. Like, when OG has a bad game, that's, like, the difference for the Knicks, it feels like. Like, 4 points for OG versus when he goes for, like, 25. It's like, okay, well, that's, like, this team being good versus this team being great. There's so many different layers to, like, Indiana being like, oh, we didn't get the Nembhard game tonight. That didn't really matter. We didn't get the Siakam game tonight. That's okay. He made some plays. He was defending, and, like, we still got the job done. And so I think that, like, when you look at this team, this matchup, and there's, like, the comparable top-end talent where Halliburton's been playing out of his mind, on top of, like, all the other good players that Indiana has, and they have all of this depth to them, and the Celtics or the Knicks will have been playing longer. It's just it would be a really gritty win, and it wouldn't shock me if the Knicks like pulled it out the way they've kind of just pulled it out routinely throughout this year. But it would be, I'm like, damn, you know, like the odds are just stacked against them once again, it feels like. Pablo?
Yeah.
What do you think about this matchup?
Well, hold on. Let me get. I had a good joke, but I ruined it by smiling. I was gonna say.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, it sucks. Tatum went down. This is just like when Paul George went down with the broken leg. Like this is identical. And do you get it?
No.
Because I say Paul George is the I say Tatum is the Paul George of this generation.
Okay.
So my new thing is I'm just gonna be making the comparison.
Just like when Paul George got hurt, dude.
Like Tatum. So and Tatum had a huge game right before he went down.
It was
just like
it was such a great Tatum game. Oh my god.
It was just like Paul George's game against the Suns a few years ago when he also had like 43 and 7 and 7.
What happened to him in that game?
I don't remember.
He probably lost. I mean,
I don't know. I think he did. I don't know. But yeah, as far as I think the Knicks should close this out, but who knows? I listened to Bill Simmons this morning. He was like, I had a couple people reach out to me about this being a Ewing theory team. Doesn't count. Celtics already won a title, so no, he's out. as far as like them playing better without Tatum, he's like, no, he's disqualified. I thought that was so funny. But
I'm not a big Bill Simmons head. The Ewing theory stuff is like you're better without your best player, right?
Yeah, because I guess Patrick Ewing got injured one time in the 90s, and
I
like
think it's
everyone...
the 99 run that they had where they lost to the Spurs. I swear Ewing got
Was he
hurt.
out for that finals?
Yeah, because he was old.
I know nothing
The
about
entire
that
thing
finals.
hinges on 37-year-old Ewing getting hurt and the Knicks being like, oh, okay, well, it's not like the end of the world.
Well, everyone plays harder in their absence.
Yeah, my theory is that having your best player is good.
But yeah, this team, I suppose, it's funny because the big concern all year with this Knicks team was we have no depth. We do not have depth to compete with anyone else in the East because last year's playoffs, everyone died on this team, and so it's probably going to happen again. But it turns out this year, just everyone else in the NBA died, and so now like we've been pushed down to this relative scale where the Knicks have always had, in my mind, one of the most talented starting fives in the entire league, and the rest of it was going to be the difference. But now that things have been boiled down, it's crazy that they're completely like. Do you guys think, are they starting lineup right now? Who minus Tatum, are the Knicks like clearly better?
Yeah, I feel like where it's like okay. I mean, first of all, again, shout out to Derek White. I don't even think we've said his name once in like the game context.
Say his name.
34 points on like 9 of 16 from the field.
He hit like
went
a ton
insane.
of threes, yeah.
Yeah. But like, so Brunson, best player, that you also have huge sample size, even when Tatum was healthy. If the game is close, Brunson will. Brunson is the steadier presence. That's the guy who's going to have his team like playing good offense late in the game. So Brunson's the best player in the matchup. On any given night, Towns can be the second best player in the matchup. I think he is very on par with Jaylen Brown over the course of like this series, these playoffs or whatever. And then, yeah, starting lineup, as I'm talking through it, I think OG is probably better than whoever the Celtics' third option is at that point. Is it Drew Holiday? Or, like...
Well, so in this most recent game, they started, Drew, Derek White, Brown, Horford, and Porzingis. But do we think they start Porzingis again? What did Joe Mazzulla say? He will start him?
He
Joe
said
Mazzulla
if
said we're giving him
Porzingis
40 minutes, man.
If Porzingis is like, because he couldn't breathe, and so Porzingis made the choice. He said, "Hey, I can't breathe. Don't play me in the second half." But if he can breathe, come Game 6, I guess he'll be starting. Is the vibe.
That's crazy.
Matt, do you know about Porzingis and what's his face, Jaylen Brown?
I know of them. I do.
Well, so they have a combo nickname together, Cookies and Cream. And in an interview pretty recently, like a month ago or something, they said, like, what's a secret that you two shared together? Something like it was like a fun prompt, and they looked at each other and started laughing. They said, "Nah, we can't talk about that night. We're taking that night to the grave," or something like that. So they were
did, bro?
They were kissing for sure. But now the speculation is, was it more, and is that leading to the illness that's going on right now? And because then then the question was, if it is like chlamydia or something, how come Jaylen Brown doesn't have it? But someone in our Patreon comments pointed out he wears that necklace that sends healing vibrations through his body all the time. So that's why he's been immune. But yeah, so it could be, it's almost certainly a sexual thing between the two of them.
I mean, it's almost certain at this point. You're absolutely right.
Well, fucking, what kills me is Sponhour just nodding, like you are saying normal sentences, like that wasn't like a full.
It's almost certain at this point, dude. I mean,
like the cutoff for like, dude, shut up is like, well, they were kissing, but we don't know about more. And then you go into, well, he's always wearing that vibrational necklace. And so it's like, no one knows what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, my God.
I don't know the last time that a player has had a mystery illness that's bothered them for this long. And, I mean, I don't know. I'm no doctor. I can't speculate about it. I know that, remember Sam Darnold's graphic for mono?
Yeah.
Dude, I had mono once. And
you were kissing girls?
I was.
All I know about mono is you get it from kissing.
Dude, it made me, because I didn't go get treatment for it because I didn't know what it was. It made me the sickest I've ever, because I'm anti-vax. It made me the sickest that I've ever been in my whole life. And then I thought back to Darnold, and I'm like, that Loki wasn't funny at all, bro. He was going through it. He was battling, man. So I hope Porzingis ends up all right, dude, because he's been dealing with this thing forever.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about it. It's like, oh, by the way, everybody, Jamal Murray's questionable tonight with illness. We just got that report about an hour ago, so things are looking good. But
what if he was kissing Porzingis?
What if he was? Well, then we're really cooked if it's mono. But that's the weird thing is like Porzingis missed like weeks with this towards the end of the regular season, and now like for it to still just be, I can't breathe, take me out. I don't understand how like we don't even have a diagnosis or something.
Yeah.
Is there any angle where it's like actually a structural physical problem that's degrading, but they're hiding it to retain his value? Would that make sense on both ends? Him and the Celtics end, or no?
If you were Porzingis and you were Porzingis and you were degrading and it was like a respiratory issue, what would you? And you've already made like plenty of money. I'd be like, dude, no way, take me out. And the Celtics would be psychotic to put him in. I mean, I know NBA, I know sports teams don't care, but if they really thought that like they were degrading his health for a series, I mean, they're down 3-1 and he's not playing good.
Yeah.
And it's not helping the team. I have no idea.
He probably wouldn't want to leave the Celtics. So yeah, probably ruled that one out. I don't know. It's one of the most bizarre situations possible. But ultimately, I guess I still do believe there's a chance the Celtics win the series.
Totally. I mean, it's just 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're still a way more talented 3-point shooting team.
And they play better on the road. So Game 6.
If the variance is on, it's possible for them to win. But selfishly, I do think Knicks Pacers would be more fun for the next round. So I'd rather have that.
Okay. So we've done Knicks Celtics, we've done Nuggets Thunder. Two dead series to talk about now. I guess we could go. Let's go Cavs Pacers here. Let's talk about the end of Cavs Pacers. One of the more disappointing ends to, what'd they win? 64 games.
64 games. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only been 3 teams with a better regular season record that haven't at least seen the conference finals, I think is the stat.
Cool. So yeah, the
Wait,
Cavs.
who are they? Do you know?
I don't remember. It was like probably that Spurs team.
No, Hawks made the conference. That's the response. It's like, well, these Cavs, these Cavs aren't the 2015 Hawks. People circled back on that saying Hawks made the conference finals.
Oh
at
my
least,
god!
You know?
Which Spurs team? The one that lost to the Grizzlies in the first
I was
round?
thinking the one. The
probably
one
2016.
where my phone's on 1%, so we'll
it's
never
probably
know.
because the Thunder beat the Spurs in the second round in 2016, and I know all of those teams were incredibly talented.
Oh, the Kawhi injury or no?
That's 17, but I mean maybe that's
But that
it
was
too.
that was
No, because
yeah,
they
that-
won like 67 games that year, didn't they? And then it wasn't the
Yeah.
conference finals that happened in, because I think they went and played the Rockets after that, no?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the second round that
Okay.
that he got taken out.
That
So-
one I know. And then it was one, I feel like it was like, I don't know. I feel like it was a Celtics team maybe, and then it was some team that like, maybe only Carson and Logan from Nerd Sesh would know. Or
Wait,
whatever.
what's
But
the
it's
what's the
probably-
number? 60 what?
64 was, so 3 teams,
So
more
the
than
Bulls-
64 wins or as many, no conference finals.
The Bulls when we no, I don't think we won that much.
It was 55 when Michael left.
When Rose tore his ACL and we lost to Philadelphia.
Oh,
And,
I don't know. But the Cavs won 64, and they lost. You guys want to talk about it?
Hey, but their future's even brighter now. Somehow,
Why?
Because Giannis is gonna be gone,
Okay.
and Tatum is gonna be gone next year, and so honestly that is a silver lining, because if all things were constant, then I think people would be fed up with this group. Maybe people are still fed up with
I
this
am,
group.
by the way.
You
yeah.
are.
Well, it's because
But
like,
you
if
do
wanna-
have injury excuse.
But, I mean, if you want to give me like this idea, the future's bright or whatever,
Next year's bright.
right now is like a pretty wide open postseason. That if you were playing like the regular season team you would have like a very serious puncher's chance to win.
Yeah.
So like it's cool that next year, the fucking like the field is nerfed or whatever, but it would be sick if you guys could have gotten at least more competitive. And Garland extremely hurt. Garland was like the way he was running around, it was like, dude, clearly you're a decoy out here. You're just like, Ty Jerome's been so bad that like you need to be here. And Hunter, if you look at the performance, I mean, whatever he had, sprained finger or something, he was clearly not 100% either. But yeah, to go out, I mean, they were up 19 points at the 8-10 mark of the second quarter in Game 5, and Halliburton hit 5 threes to close out the quarter, and I think they got outscored by like 30 points over the rest of the game. It was just, another incredible collapse from a Cavs team that was like, I don't know, a 20-point lead in the second quarter. Nobody gives a shit anymore. It's all fake, but you would have liked to close that out if you're like back to the wall, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that, man. I just think the Pacers are just a little bit well-rounded. I think they're a little bit deeper. I think they move the ball better, and I think they're more pesky defensively, right? There's nowhere easy to go against them. There's no clear thing to attack. You got to be really, really on your game. And I think the Cavs kind of came out last game and were just sort of sloppy and not 1,000%. And while I totally agree that like, no, I totally agree. It's like it's partially the health, partially a couple of bad losses. They could have ended up winning this series in another universe. And I think their game plan going forward mostly just has to be like, we got to get under the second apron by an inch, and then we got to run it back and be better, right? Like that's your path forward, I think. But it was weak to go out like they did, and it's a shame they weren't 100% for the series, I guess.
How do you guys feel about Jared Allen in this series?
I mean, he was getting beat on the perimeter a ton, and so I wonder that could be the move. So if you swap out Jarrett Allen, is it for a different style of big, or does it have to be for a wing stopper that they really don't have? Because this is a team. Obviously, Evan Mobley is incredible, and Jarrett Allen's a good rim protector. But the starting backcourt is very small, and then all the wings they have, like DeAndre Hunter's a fake good defender. He just has the tools. He's never been that. Isaac Okoro is a little too small. and
Right.
he's been phased out of like importance.
I mean,
like,
the
he
offense
plays
with
the
him
garbage
is just
ti-
so tough sometimes.
Yeah, he's playing the garbage time minutes for them. So I want is that the avenue of improvement that could take this team to the next level, or what do we do with Jarrett Allen?
Well, it's going to be tough to add value in the sense that like everybody knows what Jared Allen is. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Well, the good news is like there are some teams that are super center hungry. Now I don't know if they like obviously. First one that comes to mind is the Lakers would die for Jarrett Allen.
Yeah.
Is he worth that pick, the Mark Williams package, or is he too good for that?
I mean, I think I'd. Would you rather have Allen or Mark Williams?
I would rather have Jared Allen.
I think he's definitely a steadier choice because of health.
Right? Like, I don't even think that's like, no disrespect, but like Mark Williams hasn't proved that he can even like play
Oh,
consistently.
thank God. I thought you were about to be like so pro Mark. I was like, I didn't want to like step on any.
Well, the argument would be Jarrett Allen is like tiny-ish. Like he looks big, but he's really like 6'8", 6'9". Mark Williams is a legit 7-footer with a
better standing reach than Wemby.
He's like
9,
almost
10 standing reach. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean his size is awesome. I mean his rookie year he was super impactful for the Hornets, but he just like can't stay healthy at all. And if the Lakers were willing to give up that package, I mean I'd at least call about it and then try to get that package and flip it for somebody else. That could be a decent path forward for him as well. I think I'd be willing to tinker with Allen. Garland, I feel like I want to keep and hope that I feel like there's some meat on the bone there in terms of just like improving his level of play and getting to the point where he's more consistent as the second option.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell, you're obviously not going to move, and Mobley, you're obviously not going to move. That's kind of my thought with them.
It's crazy that Donovan Mitchell losing the Rudy Gobert agenda wars on my timeline a lot this week. Like I didn't know there were so many Gobert fans, but like Donovan Mitchell, no conference finals appearance. Rudy Gobert has 2, you guys, and so I was seeing that circled back on quite a bit.
That's the craziest victory lap ever. When Donovan Mitchell just played Michael Jordan basketball for like 5 straight games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. With Garland, it's tough just because, like, I do genuinely feel I thought we were in for, like, a good postseason with him, even though, like, I think, you know, without the health concerns, maybe we walk away with, like, a more canon worry about, like, his exploitability on defense. Maybe you see him out there with a healthy toe, and it's like, oh, shit, you know, they're still really happy to go at him when they get, like, a big guy or whoever. Like, if Siakam gets switched onto him or something. Much less, I mean, we were worried about the Celtics series, and like clearly that was looking too far ahead. And
now I wonder, like, if it's last year a big jaw injury knocks him out, it's this year a toe injury knocks him out. Do we have to worry, like, long term, like little guy takes big hits, or like he can't hold up to these hits? I don't know.
The jaw didn't scare me. The toe is a little more concerning, I feel like.
Well, I don't think like it'll be a long-term toe thing. I just think like, what if he's like Ja Morant? And, like, now we're worried about Ja Morant. It's like this guy's hitting his shoulder every year, and it's every time he hits it, it's 50 games. Like, do we? I don't know. Darius Garland might be, and I'm also moving. This is something I'm gonna have to address with the draft. Like, I'm going so full doomer mode with little guys that I'm having psychotic contemplations.
Kill Rob Dillingham.
Hey, would he be a first rounder this year on my board? I don't know.
Oh man. Yeah. So as far as Cavs' funeral goes, I mean, it's just, I do agree that like the field will be worse next year, and I do agree like. What do you make? The shooters completely cold. Garland, Strus, DeAndre Hunter, Ty Jerome, and Sam Merrill combined.
That Strus quote.
What was the quote? I didn't see it.
It was there was like a news report where it's like before the game, Strus texted every member of the team and said, if you don't believe we can win, don't show up to the game. If you're not ready, don't show up to the game. God. And then he went over 6.
Well, they combined to shoot 29% from 3, 32 of 108 throughout the 5 games. So yeah, like it's just a lot of the components that were like very key to their identity crumbled in like really spectacular fashion. And I mean, I hesitate to like say it's because they were soft as to why they lost the series. That's stupid. But
you do say it. It just takes a little longer.
The vibe of Game 5 was an incredibly soft one. I'll say that much. It did not feel like a team.
I don't want to say they're soft, but it had a soft vibe.
Hey, the series, they didn't lose it because they were babies or because the lights were too bright or whatever. It did not feel like back to the wall basketball for a
No,
lot
it didn't.
of Game
It
5.
didn't. That's totally fair. And maybe it would have if the shooting variance just went more in their favor. They didn't blow some dumb games early. Who knows? I mean, yeah, I just think a lot went against them. It's not to say that they don't have real issues, because they do. And I mean, they're probably never going to be, the title favorite, which is the ultimate off-season goal
now.
or whatever.
You could win 80 games
now.
next year.
People
They're
aren't
not
going to
getting
care.
the favorite. I'm dead.
But I think you can still run it back and have serious hope about making the finals, at least for next year, without too much change.
Yeah. And
do we get Ty Jerome on a major discount now?
Probably not. Like, don't get me wrong. It will impact his payday, but like there are teams that need spacing. He's
at $2 million right now. How much do we think he's jumping? Can we get him back on 3?
I don't know.
Also, another thing, Evan Mobley winning Defensive Player of the Year bumps his contract up, not quite to Jaren Jackson.
He's making like 46 next year or something.
It'll be
maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, 46.4, and then it'll end at 61. So how do you guys feel about Evan Mobley on that kind of money?
Think you gotta move him. Think you gotta move him to Charlotte, bro. You're fucked.
To Charlotte?
Why not?
And LaMelo at the 3 in Cleveland because he's 6'8".
Okay.
That could be a move. That could be
There you go.
change.
Yeah. I mean, Mobley's money, like, to me, Mobley is... when the pick happened, I don't pay that much attention to the draft, but when the pick happened, I was like, oh, 7-footer who I've seen do a backflip in the sand versus Jalen Green. I want the big guy, and Houston took Jalen Green, and I was like, wait, what? I don't like that at all. And if you're Cleveland, like, you just have to be like, this is the kind of draft luck getting one of these guys that we, I don't know, started the episode talking about. It's like, just because you don't get number 1 overall, you can still walk away with. I think Mobley will be like one of the defining bigs of the next 10 years.
Oh,
like,
really?
I love it because if they move off Jared Allen, the statistical explosion that Evan Mobley will have will be enormous. He will be like a 27-point per game scorer if Jared Allen isn't there next year. Just spam pick. Like, he is such
All right, Matt, clip that for us.
It's clipped. It's clipped. It's posted. It's viral.
Nice.
And, I mean, I love him as a hub passer. I love him as a defender. I mean, I really do. Like, you would have liked to see more scoring output in this series, for sure, as, like, guy who's healthy on a team that's kind of, like, it's looking for a steadying presence from their 100% players. But, like, when I think about, like, Wemby, he's in a class of his own. But when I think about Chet, I'm like, Evan, what's that much different with Chet?
Yeah, now that he's been demoted, now that he's been recalibrated.
Hey, be nice, okay?
I'm recalibrating him. Sorry, it's too late.
No. He's in the computer. I'm calibrating.
You can't stop this thing. You can't turn it off once it starts.
Yeah.
Well, where do you see the jumps coming off? And do you think higher 3-point volume at all, or just like higher volume, steadier flow of penetration?
I mean, I think the volume will go up like a bit. I don't think he's going to become like Karl Anthony Towns or anything. But for me, I'm cool with it. Like,
do you want post-ups?
Yeah, I want it all, baby. Like, I truly, because that was another thing. It's like he took the strength leap this year, where all of a sudden you're having power forwards who used to like bump him off the spots. Now he's getting like one dribble and dunking on him or whatever. Like, I really do like Evan Mobley a lot. I'm not concerned. Like, if we're comparing him and Jaren Jackson, money concerns, I think the the flaws in Jackson's game as like can't rebound, foul trouble, all this shit.
Defends Miles Bridges.
He does?
Well, they were teammates, so that's
Oh,
still
okay. Come on, dude. They went to
no.
war together.
He's yeah, and they talk about anime together. I don't want to hear it.
Okay. All right. I feel like we've talked about the Pacers a little. Is there any thoughts you guys have on the Pacers? Like, through the lens of all these other teams, we've brought the Pacers up a bunch.
Honestly, the only other thing that like I've been thinking about the Pacers, outside of the fact that I just think their offense is so good and how they're fitting into like the depth over everything, no weak link sort of basketball structure, is that they probably should be more aggressive than any other team this offseason.
And in terms of what?
In terms of like, if there's a big move for them to make for another piece,
Are
I
you
don't know
thinking
exactly
Giannis
what
or
that
no?
would be. If I could pick where Giannis would go, I'd pick Pacers. I
It
think
would
that'd
be
the
cool.
most
It would be
interest.
really cool.
But even in terms of in other stuff, dude, like they're good right now. They're well built, but they still have like the assets to go make a move and probably not empty the coffers. And the Celtics are probably shot for next season and probably won't ever be like the level they were last year or this year ever again. Like, your window's short? Okay, cool. Well, unless we're just talking about the Pacers like we don't care about their window at all. Like, okay, well, they should maximize right now, dude. I mean, they could make the final. I think right now I'd pick them to make the finals, considering they're already in the conference finals, and I like them a little bit over the Knicks. They're probably
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to be the betting favorite. It'll be close, but like if they've got a real shot to make the finals now. Yeah, I don't see why they shouldn't be trying to get aggressively better. When who are the other two big competitors in the East? Cavs maxed out, Knicks maxed out. Outside of like margin moves going crazy, we never know. But the Pacers aren't, and the Pacers should say, okay, like what can we go do? Giannis is the obvious one, but even if it's not something like crazy, they should be looking to upgrade aggressively.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about them in through that lens. With Giannis specifically, I've become a Giannis scalability doomer because I thought the partnership with him and Lillard should have been way better than it was, way more enhancive for both of them, and it didn't work. And I kind of do blame Giannis for a lot of that because I think he is kind of what he is, like a standstill face-up driver, kind of like he likes to slow it down, and he didn't embrace a lot of the like short roll stuff and a lot of traditional romance stuff. So do you think he could buy into playing at that pace?
This isn't Damian
with the
Lillard. We're slotting
Pacers?
him in next to. This is literally Steve Nash, pal. No, I mean I do think.
Yeah.
I think the Pacers framework already is much better than like whatever you want to call
Than the Bucks.
run.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, where it's just like first of all, straight up bad players on like the Bucks roster is not good, and there was nothing in place to have to support the Dame Giannis two-man game in any like super meaningful way. And I did like, even though you got the great run out of Gary Trent Jr. as a shooter this season, like I just don't think there was that much supplemental offense on the team. And then I also think like Halliburton is a much better passer, playmaker than this stage of Damian Lillard's career. I never loved Dame as a pick and roll playmaker in Portland, and especially like as we saw the burst decline a little bit, the version he was at in Milwaukee, it was just tough. It's tough, but I really do feel like Halliburton could play off of Giannis, no problem.
That part of it I don't have trouble with because I don't think about Halliburton really as compared to Nash. I really think Halliburton's like the evolution of Reggie Miller, because he's just like almost fully off ball a lot of these times. Andrew Nembhard initiates so much of this offense, so I don't have worries about him, but I have worries about Giannis just playing at that speed and like resisting shutting things down. But I guess he does love to play in transition, so maybe this would be the natural fit. Because I think about Matt. Do you think if OKC were to go all in, do you think Giannis could fit with them? Because I would have fears over him conflicting with Shea.
I mean, I would have some concerns with it, I guess. You're not wrong that like he is kind of his own dude, and we're talking about people who have offenses that are already very set in stone, but Giannis is still at the level talent-wise where I think it actually does end up trump. I know that's like you're not supposed to say that in 2025 about NBA teams anymore, but like the
It's
boost
not
you
woke.
get from the boost you
Go ahead and
get from the boost you get from having someone like that in terms of like the pressure they bring to the rim and the lineups that they have to see probably outweighs any sort of like maybe standstill or like not perfect fit. It's not a crazy thing, and maybe I don't know, maybe you just don't have the gas to do it. You're probably not wrong, and maybe just in general it's like you don't want to move off of Siakam, not for Giannis necessarily, but for like another star because you'd have to give up his money. So we'll see. Maybe it's not as simple as Pacers should get a star and whatever. Because I mean, Devin Booker wouldn't be a terrible ad for him. Would be the other guy that I would at least think about.
Yeah.
The issue is the money. But like a guy who can like make shots like that, and Devin Booker very much likes to do the sort of dirty work stuff. Like he was glad to be that guy for the Olympic team. I'm not saying the Pacers are the Olympic team, but you know they want everybody very, very bought in and moving the ball well. Booker would do that. It's just like, you know, then you'd give up Siakam, and it's like you lose what he gives you. So it's tough. But
Do you think this could be a Kevin Durant destination, or no?
it's the same thing with the money. But I think it absolutely could because Durant works well off the ball. I think Durant. My thought about the Durant trade is that we're probably past the point where I'm giving up like super far into the future
Yeah.
first for him.
No.
Like this is, I haven't even begun to think about what really he should be doing this offseason. I mean, he shouldn't be on the Suns anymore. It just comes down to price with Durant, really. How much is he making?
I hope.
I don't know.
I hope Michael Porter Jr. money, if I had to guess. Let me see.
Well, you don't. Well, okay. What else? What else do we get?
Hey, well, that's what Giannis is messing up the trade market, and so it's
Oh.
like Kevin Durant. The price isn't the same. Michael Porter Jr. a couple firsts. Matt Ishbia, we're scamming your bitch ass. Oh my god.
Just show Matt Ishbia the hoop mixtapes from high school. He'll be won over. But yeah, is there anyone else you've identified as a?
No, this was just like a loose thought earlier today. I didn't think it through at all or form an interesting opinion on it or have anything to say about it.
And that's our whole process, baby. So you fit right in. I love it when you come on. Okay.
I
What?
do have the Stay Hot record here in like 5 minutes. I'm sorry,
Okay,
I should have brought that up.
We'll wrap up Wolves Warriors without you. It's
You'll wrap up. Okay, I'll just go with
Do
my
you have
head
any
sunk,
Julius
like,
Randle thoughts? I mean, let's I'll timestamp it. Wolves Warriors, best series of Julius Randle's career. How you feeling?
Were you a believer in Julius Randle with them?
No,
I wasn't either.
Join the club.
I didn't. I was like, well, here's the issue: is like some dude will be 27, he'll have like multiple like terrible playoff series where he just holds onto the ball and puts up terrible shots and doesn't make them, and you're like, that's not good.
Hater.
Having that guy on your team
This guy doesn't know ball.
it's not good. And then he'll go to a different team, and then it's like he's moving the ball well, and the shots are falling, and it's like he's super bought in, and it's like, okay, well, now he is good. Okay, you got it.
It's been there all along.
I think the take I settled on was like, well, they at least they're more flexible, so we got to see what they do with the flexibility. But now, I mean, you would definitely rather be more flexible and have the easier contract. So they're balling. I don't like the Timberwolves over the Thunder, but I think they certainly got at least a puncher's chance.
Well, that's my other thing, is going back to, like, again, talking logically through everything and just having something, it just not work out the way I thought it was going to. When I look at this matchup, I'm like, okay, Draymond, if Julius Randle was the player that I thought he was, Draymond was the nightmare matchup. And he dominated that matchup. Averaged 25, 7, and 7 on 63% true shooting in the Warriors series. I think he only scored less than 20 in like one game, and he shot over 60% on his twos. It was a really incredible game or series for Randall. Looking ahead, Hartenstein, Chet front court for a guy who's like, let me big body you, and even though I'm a little undersized compared to 2 7-footers or whatever, that's not the easiest thing in the world. And I don't think he would be like phased out or whatever. Because I think the Thunder have like, that's a serious, rebounding size disadvantage in that matchup. But I think it would matter more if he shot the three as poorly as he did in this Warriors series. It didn't really come into play that much, his 3-point shooting. I think he was like 30%, but he shot 50% in one game. So for a lot of the other stuff, it just wasn't good. I think it would matter more. But I mean, I love that we're even having like this level of playoff discussions about him. I really was not hopeful heading into the postseason.
Yeah, I guess that was my thought too. I thought it was going to look a lot more like the Knicks, and he was going to hold the ball too long. And I didn't know he was averaging 7 assists. I mean, I guess that's not.
Hey, first he was 3 rebounds away from back-to-back triple doubles. He had his first playoff career triple double.
Yeah. Wow. I do have to.
Fuck, I was just about. The Warriors. What do they? Did you guys think?
Playoff Jimmy's gone.
Hey, I was gonna ask you. You're
It's
Mr.
gone.
Play.
It was stored in his pelvis, and then they contused it, and it's gone now.
Oh, it's sad. Yeah.
Matt, do you know that Jimmy Butler has a contused pelvis, and earlier in the year, Steph Curry had a contused pelvis. What are they doing in there? What's going on in the Warriors locker room? They're bumping pelvises?
You're the expert. You tell me, man.
Pablo's got like specific injury alerts on ESPN. Hey, can I just get the gay injuries, please? I don't want like any of the ankle stuff.
Well, what's going on with these Magic players? Oblique? Oh.
What are they licking? Oh my god!
I call that the X's powers.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, and feel free to leave whenever you have to, Matt.
Yeah,
Just
it's
do a Irish exit.
Okay, I will. I like the Irish exit podcast move. I will say I'm not as high on the Warriors like selling out their future to try to be better next year as other people. They're just too goddamn old. And what scares me is that if you trade, like, they should still like try to get better, of course, and like find some role players that better flesh this thing out. But like if you trade like first far into the future, you know they're gonna be good. And I understand like you won't have another Steph Curry for a long time or whatever, but I just don't know if you can get to the level that makes me excited about your title odds, I guess.
Yeah.
A big question we have now is Kuminga's expiring, correct? Are we re-signing Kuminga, or has this come completely?
No, the Bulls are putting in too big of an offer.
This is like, can this exist when Steph Curry is on the court or no?
Can what exist? I'm confused.
A good Jonathan Kuminga.
No.
No.
No. Yeah. This is.
It was so far out of the realm of possibility. You didn't even know what I was talking about. See, that's cool. That's cool. Oh, okay. I have to pee too, actually. Synchronized pee break. All right.
And we're back.
Why are you chewing? You said bathroom break. You didn't say
eating,
food break.
Yeah. Oh, he Irish. Oh, what a guy.
He dumped and
Hell
ate
yeah.
it.
Well, this is perfect
Yeah, we
because I
gotta-
didn't want to be
way
mean to
too
the
serious
guests
when I
whenever
have
we
to
have
pee.
guests on. So we got to get really stupid.
Oh,
Hey, let's take a little. Let's pause.
It really
let's
did
pause. Show me when he was trying to figure. He's like, so Porzingis. You know what happened with Porzingis and Brown, right? Well, we know they were kissing, and he's got this crazy necklace. Oh my god. Okay. So what do we?
Should I see a movie tonight?
You might have to edit this podcast. I have to be done in 30-ish minutes. I'm going to see something at a play theater before.
Are you gonna
the
miss
soccer
the
game.
game?
No.
He's missing the game, guys. He's a fraud.
So yeah, Warriors, Wolves. Wolves win in 5. We didn't even say it's back-to-back conference finals for the Pacers and for the Wolves. Kind of crazy. I definitely feel like this is a good. Both teams rock. Like, I don't want to be like fake runs or anything, but two very healthy teams over these past 2 years that like I mean,
Well,
obviously,
Halliburton's been up and down at least.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Especially in the postseason last year, his back it seemed to really affect him. But
And Chris Finch.
that's true. Second row Finch.
The nosebleed Finch, more like it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any? Shut up, nosebleed Finch. Do you have any thoughts?
Can't believe. Just every time we talk about that, he gets further up in the stadium.
More like parking lot Finch. Am I right?
Couldn't even reach him with a T-shirt cannon. That's how far back he was.
Yeah, I had to give him a phone call to fucking say, hey, where are you? I can't see you up there. Do you have any thoughts on Wolves Warriors, or any thoughts that you haven't expressed at all that you were bottling up for the sake of company?
I hate Theo Ash and Bladen.
I hate Theo Ash. He's an idiot. Bird watching stupid.
Bird brain, more like it.
More like it. Oh, didn't this guy not like Jaden Daniels? Chat, fucking kill Theo Ash.
What would our hate name for him? Theo Ass?
P.O.S. I don't know.
And what's Bladen?
Bladen? Gaydon. Come on. Got his ass. Boom. Everybody go to the most recent episode of the Stay Hot podcast. Let him know State of the League sent you. Oh my god.
You do not want to make an enemy of us. That's all I'll say.
After we just had one of them on for 2 hours.
After we just had Math PU.
Oh my god. Wolves Warriors thoughts. Do you have any?
It was disappointing, honestly, because Steph is out, and so it was such a bummer the whole time. And I don't like Steph being wasted. I suppose this isn't wasting because he was out, but still, I'm disappointed that Steph was out. I'm disappointed. Playoff Jimmy is probably gone. Did you see Udonis Haslem was on First Take, and he was like blasting Jimmy. He's and it's like, oh yeah, I wonder why he thinks this. But he was saying, yeah, Jimmy doesn't have it, or Jimmy's not the guy. Some of his performances may have had you thinking he was up there with some of these guys. He's not.
All right, Udonis, damn.
Not Adonis, Udonis. So I
Udonis,
wonder if that's what his
them.
mom was thinking. They Donis?
Has them. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he's gone, because he still had 30 in Game 4. There's something in the tank. It's just like
the aggression is like so frustrating.
11 shots in an elimination game.
What is this? This like what? I need like a Markel Fultz type investigation. What happened? Because he wasn't like this on the Bulls. I don't think he was like this on Minnesota or Philadelphia. Like, it only started at the end of the Heat where he's like, I don't shoot threes anymore. And a lot of times I don't really... I'm past first Jimmy. I only
That's
pass.
really... I mean, it's insane how much I saw Kevon Looney catching the ball in the middle of the paint with, like, 2 guys on him. Because Jimmy was like, oh, I can make this pass, and he's kind of close to the basket. And it's like, dude, obviously that's not good offense. That's not... what's going to work for the team. Like, you had an open, mid-range or whatever, and you didn't take it to get that shot. It's, yeah.
I saw people saying, like, he avoided Gobert because his entire, like, bag of pump fakes and pivots is nerfed by a guy who doesn't leave the ground a lot.
I think that's fair.
Like, in this specific matchup, but, like, I went and rewatched... This is a guy, is it only 3 years ago now? This is a guy who dropped 56 with Drew Holiday as his primary defender. Real Drew Holiday. And attacking real defensive Giannis and real defensive Brook Lopez. Like, it was, and Chris Middleton.
Much better than Brook Lopez defensive.
Well,
even though Brook was really
chill out on Prime Brook Rim Pro.
Well, specifically what they're describing about Gobert not falling for fakes is like Gobert just stands there a lot of time, and it's good. Like, it makes him a great defender and everything, and specifically against Jimmy, yeah, it just makes it tough. And then they also just have, like, it's kind of like the wing version of OKC, where obviously they have good guard defenders too or whatever, but you get Jaden McDaniels switched off you, and sometimes it's like, oh cool, I get to go at Anthony Edwards now, or oh cool, Julius Randle's fucking big ass is now like bumping me. I'm not gonna go post this guy up or whatever. And so yeah, just a very very tough offensive. And once that went, there's no hope. There's no prayer for the Warriors. And what's frustrating is these were like close games in the first half a lot of times, and then Anthony Edwards would come out and just have like 30 points in the second half, and it was like, oh, cool. Why is this even? Why was it competitive? Like, if that's just what was gonna happen, why did we have to wait that long to find out? But yeah, I don't know how many more moves they have. I haven't really taken that close of a look at their situation.
I feel like they've had nothing for years. What did they give up for Jimmy? Wiggins and what else?
Almost nothing.
That's
it was
crazy.
like Wiggins, and I swear PJ Tucker was involved in there somehow. PJ Tucker. Hey, and so yeah, I do think this team, this roster, running it back next season, you have a fine shot to get something cool to happen.
Imagine if they were in the East. Now that'd be sick.
Oh my god, fringe title contenders, baby. But in this, I mean, dude, if Giannis comes to the West, I will genuinely lose my mind. Like, if it's like Wemby and Giannis.
Yeah, well, that's the dream.
It'd be cool for Wemby GOAT agenda. I don't.
Yeah, that's good.
Coming out next season, I don't see how there's not a way. It's like in a much better spot.
That's his Pippen.
His Pippen is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah, Michael Jordan had All NBA second option. Wemby had Best in the World second option.
He's not the best in the world right now.
Well, I'm saying it's cool because this guy's so good, and he's still second option to Wemby. That's how. That's
I see.
Because like, oh yeah, defer to me, second best in the world. I'm Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, I still do want to talk more about STEPHON Castle, but we'll do that after.
I mean, what do you want to do after? Like,
I just want to
Warriors Wolves. Like, I don't really have that many thoughts. It's disappointing for the Warriors. It's great for the Wolves. And if you're Minnesota at this point, you're just like, hey, Denver, win tonight. Make this a rock fight for these next two games. Get as much rest as we possibly can, while OKC or the Nuggets just fucking beat the shit out of each other.
Well, let's see. Is this a team that has a pick in this year's draft? I'm going to pull up Tankathon, and we're going to see.
More like
Find out.
Wankathon.
All right. Okay. Let's see. I think they do not.
It was probably in the Jimmy trade.
Probably. Does Oh yeah, it goes to Miami at 20. So yeah, who is this team gonna add? I mean, they should go after Bryce Sensabaugh, but they probably won't because they're actually. I do think Mike Dunleavy has operated in a pretty shrewd way. I do think he's light years ahead of Fraud Myers, but yeah, it's tough because you hope Steph is still good enough to be like the guy. Draymond, the decline has been very slow. And so I guess you just gotta hope and pray Jimmy is just injury, and then it's tough. It's tough. Would you consider blowing it up at all this offseason? Like,
no, not after you did all this to get Jimmy, and especially not. I feel like this is one of the last bastions of the romantic era of NBA stardom of your whole career with one team. And I do feel like if you're respecting the agreement between yourself as the Warriors organization and Steph, you owe it to Steph to let him finish his career here and to let you guys be as competitive as possible. And does that mean, burning down 2032 or whatever? No, I don't want to do that. But, like, I want to give Steph some more runs. This feels like...
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are. We're doing that. Yeah. This is basketball. Yeah. But I just think, I wouldn't blow it up. I want Steph to be happy in a Warriors uniform. I feel like there is value in that. But yeah, you just gotta like, hey, can we get to the East somehow? We gotta get to. California's got too many teams. How about the Baltimore Warriors?
And I suppose if, let's say, the injury luck happened on the other end, and Anthony Edwards is out for the series.
Wouldn't matter. Julius Randle's better in this series.
But I still feel like they'd get obliterated by OKC.
That's really the problem.
Not looking past Denver, of course, but but then they'd get obliterated by Jokic. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We'll let Steph Curry have his fun. Let him ride out his delusions.
Ride out his delusions.
Yes, Bob Steph,
Myers,
you can do it.
Bob Myers is speaking Chinese to James Wiseman, and the front office has the nerves to be like, yeah, we'll let this guy ride out his delusions. Bro, you're the delusional people. You fucking psychos.
I hate Bob Myers' guts so much.
Fuck you, Bob Myers, if you're listening to this. Okay, I mean, do you want to just shit on Stephon Castle for a second, or what?
Well, I just think it's so unbelievable that Giannis is on the table and Bill Simmons and people are, well, you can't. This Castle's off the table. Come on. And I'm like, what? So this is a guy who averaged, what did he average? 18?
15. I looked it up this morning.
15 on 52% true shooting. Now, his final 2 months, I think, are people excited about like the 6 assists?
Probably. And I don't know. We should bear in mind, rookie guard. Every time we talk about Stephon Castle, just because we don't like him, you have to keep it in mind, dude.
Well,
guard.
rookie wing. To me, this is not like he's not a point guard to me. I mean, this is a guy because Rizichet was as good or better this year. Jalen Wells was as good or better this year.
I mean, that's fair.
And they don't
that would be funny to ask Bill. Okay, are you including Rizichet?
Is Rizichet on?
Oh my god.
And I guess so. Stephon Castle, like, I still don't feel like he's that functional. He was in the dunk contest, and he's had some big dunks this year. I still don't think he's like that kind of athlete in the half court.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a Men Thompson or something.
No,
where it's
and shooting wise, he is a Men Thompson, 28% from 3 on the year.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I will give him the rookie guard efficiency benefit of the doubt. If you want to talk about
I'm not
playmaking, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, I won't. I'm not saying he's going to be at 52 his whole career, but it's just like this rookie year did not blow me away, and I was to be completely fair, I was a Stephon Castle doubter at UConn, so you could say I'm biased, but I just think I didn't see a guy who's that much different.
I remember one of your last big tweets before blue skying and then returning was you quoted one of mine and said, "Guy who doesn't believe in non-binary genders but believes in point guard Stephon Castle."
Yeah.
Oh man.
And Stephon Castle I do think is a good defender as a rookie, and that's impressive, and will be a really good defender going forward. And like, to see that's literally, if he was what people think he is, which is like a 6'7" athletic point guard who plays super high level defense, there's no reason for me to doubt that guy or not like that guy, because I have a Wemby GOAT agenda overall, and so I would need that type of guy on my team. But I just feel, I don't know. I was like, is this Michael Carter Williams? But no, he was at 48% true shooting. But not like, I don't know. I just don't feel like this was that impressive of a rookie year, and in a draft class we all recognized as weak, and as it played out over the course of the year, it didn't. Those
the
perceptions.
way I look at it is like, there are objectively better players who are 100% on the table for Giannis. There's just no, like, it's the idea that you could add a top 2 player in the world there's like 20 guys that should be off the table, maybe. It's just like, to get Wemby that kind of help while he's on this level of contract or whatever, like we were talking about earlier, it's just it's an extremely rare opportunity, and to do it because like.
And if the cost is Stephon Castle after
That's
1
what I'm
year,
saying. It's like if franchises look at him this way, like the way that some people talk about him, if franchises appreciate his value at that level, then it could be like heist of the century.
Yeah, this could be the most OP trade asset on the planet right now. And so if I'm the Spurs, I'm absolutely going all in on that, and I'm willing to give up anyone else. I don't know if the Bucks would want Vassell or Sohan or whoever. So what did they? I would include the number 2 pick for Giannis, and there was a report today that like they're locked in on Dylan Harper.
It's fine. It's just like, I don't know. I'm gonna view it through that lens for a while. It's like, is this cooler than Giannis would have been? Even though I think Dylan Harper, like getting a Dylan Harper level prospect next to a guy like Wemby, we're heading into year 3. That's incredibly rare. It's like guys like Wemby are already too good to get that level of draft pick next to them. So if Harper is that guy, it's cool that De'Aaron Fox is here or whatever, and I like it for the immediate future. But the fact that you have Harper, like, God, I really hope he hits if they're not moving for Giannis.
My calculus I'm making is, if it comes down to a Wemby, Harper, Fox, Castle core versus a Wemby, Giannis core, and Fox, because I don't think someone else would take Fox in a Giannis. Do you think Milwaukee would take Fox?
I mean, maybe. Are you offering Fox or Dylan Harper, or like what is this?
Straight up, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. If Castle's that great of an asset, I'm willing to do Castle and number 2 pick, and I don't want to go too far into the future with picks, which I don't. That's another complication, because when does this team, like, how much are Spurs picks worth? Yeah. If you have Wemby and Giannis in the short term and then Wemby in the long term. So that would be a complicated. But if it did cost me De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, number 2 pick, and then maybe like a couple more picks, I think I am willing to do that. And obviously Wemby and Giannis would need more help. They'd need that roster around them filled. But I just feel like that's one that has potential to be the most dominant defensive court in NBA history. Yeah. And one of the and maybe offensive too. Like, and Wemby could just get out the way and shoot
10 threes a game for Wemby, and we don't have to pretend like it's because Giannis is in the way now. So I have to do this, guys. Sorry.
And we think about, like, that's literal hell for Jokic. Like, instead of Hartenstein and Chet, it's Giannis and Wemby.
Oh my God!
And how many teams, like, straight up are just ill-equipped to deal with that front court alone? Like the Warriors, I feel like, are disqualified from competing with that
probably.
Team. As it stands, yeah, they have no center.
Well, I'm thinking even if they pull off like even if they picked up Claxton this offseason or something, it would still be like, you got one guy and Rui Hachimura, and like that's what you're going to war with.
Timberwolves are shaky against that. Like the Thunder, like you at least have a bootleg version of that, but you still don't. You just still don't feel that good. I just feel like that's such an OP combo, and then you would have flexibility money-wise because Wemby's on the rookie contract and stuff like that. I just feel like the best possible version you could fill in around those two guys, I'd rather roll the dice on that than chilling for a little bit.
Okay. I got to wrap it up.
Okie dokie.
Do you have any final thoughts for the people? Oh, okay.
Oh,
He's telepathying.
look what I got from Five Below.
What do you got? A whiteboard. He's drawing on it. It's an audio-only format. What is this? Oh, are you drawing up plays? Okay. Wow. That looks really good. Okay.
So this is called pinch elbow.
I'm not
so
trying to pinch elbows right now.
I'm JJ Redick. So when you run pinch elbow, pwned.
Welcome back to Mind the Lame.
Bone.
Oh my
Mind gobbling these nuts. It's JJ and LeBron.
Nice. All right.
Steve Nash.
Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Go check out Sponhour's shit. He didn't get a chance to plug his stuff, but yeah, talk to you.
Stay Hot podcast.
Good. Go check
Spawn Hour on all
Yeah.
avenues.
Dave Robinson, take it away.
Basketball is an endurance race. Whoever's got something left to give in the fourth quarter wins. Up tempo means I'm gonna run you into the ground.